Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are here for day one, session 3 of this test match between Australia and the West Indies. So far, Australia have been building up quite nicely, 162 for 2 after the early loss of David Warner. Not a lot happened for the West Indian bowling attack from there, but then after that, we saw some Australian masterclass of batting from Kovaja, managed to get himself up to around that 62 mark for losing his wicket, and then Labuschagne now at the crease still with 81 of 161 deliveries. Steve Smith recently occupying the crease with him, but we've seen some decent bowling. Myers was one of the men who were able to break through, and he just seemed to be a little bit more dangerous, pitching the ball up more than a few of the other West Indian bowlers. And they actually showed a pitch map just before, and they did say only 18 of the deliveries that the West Indians have bowled would have hit the stumps. And that's not a very big number, definitely because we've had 57 overs of action already. They do need more in this final session if they do want to get a couple breakthroughs. I would say West Indies would be doing pretty well if they did have them 5 down at the end of today. Having Labuschagne out, having Steve Smith out, and then maybe Travis Head as well. But just about to get back into this test match. Like I mentioned, we covered some of the first session, about an hour and 30 minutes. Then I did have cricket training myself, so that is why we did have to stop. But we are now back for the final session of the day. And hopefully it is going to be an exciting one with some wickets, some big shots. We saw just before the end of the first session, Kovaja started going after the bowling attack a little bit, managed to get himself a 6. Labuschagne was also attacking. So I hope Australia, for the end of this session, start to find some decent runs on the board. They're currently ticking over at just under 3 and over. So maybe try and get that up to 3 by the end of today. Have themselves around that 200 and I would say 230, 240 would be a pretty good goal for the Australians, maybe a little bit higher if they are feeling a bit adventurous. But I'm looking forward to seeing what Roach can do because he's been under pressure, sitting 13 overs bowled, 42 runs conceded, whereas Mayers, he has been sensational, 7 overs bowled, 1 wicket, and the 9 runs off him. Also, the other bowler who was able to get a breakthrough wicket was, in the end, Jaden Sills, the youngster. He will also be looking to get through. Oh, sorry, I actually got Roach and Chase round the wrong way. That was a bit of a mistake. But Roston Chase, his off-spin bowling, I think could be somewhere where they get the breakthrough. And also where the F is, everyone says, Pads of Blaze, welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing well. I believe because we stopped and then we started again, there are always going to be a few less people, but that's all right. At the end of the day, we're here to watch nice third session. I hope it's a high wicket-taking session. I think also because we've seen so many runs from Australia, some people may be feeling could be going the same as a few of the other matches, but I think it's going to be all right. I hope West Indies get a few wickets in a row here. They're only 3 overs behind. Okay, says Pads Ablaze. But yeah, we did end up doing a live stream a little bit earlier on in the day for the first session. Tomorrow, I believe we're going to be doing the third session of both of the games between Pakistan and England, and also West Indies versus Australia. I believe that is the time that we have that don't overlap with anything else. Optus Stadium still looking extremely nice here in Perth. I believe it was supposed to be about 29 degrees, and they were talking about it at the tea break. The pitch is starting to speed up a little bit compared to the first session, so we might actually see maybe the most pace on day 2, which is where we may see Australia bowling, and we should win this ODI, says Pads Ablaze, although is the rain currently affecting it? I know that we've had some bad weather here. They are only playing just about 3 hours up the road. They are just showing Kovaja a few of those chances that the West Indies had. They just weren't quite able to get them until the moment where they got that breakthrough, and they needed it to get Kovaja out. Looked like an awkward one for Labuschagne as well. He ended up getting knocked on the finger. Might be one to watch out for. Kovaja really attacked Roston Chase, though. They are just showing a few of the highlights. I actually missed a few of these as I was actually batting while this was going on, but Labuschagne managed to bring up his half-century. The same can be said about Usman Kovaja. Did play a whole heap of nice shots getting a half-century. He seems to be one of those players, just keep on going and going, but then he had that outside edge. It was Mayers who was able to pick him up, and also we should win even if it rains, says Pads Ablaze. Yeah, I believe the Duckworth-Lewis system will come into play. In New Zealand, have they had enough overs to count as a game? I believe they would have. So yeah, they might end up getting themselves a Duckworth-Lewis win. Of course, they don't want that, though. They want to be able to go out there and finish the game, get themselves the victory, and that would actually tie the series with the Indians in there. So that's probably not too bad for New Zealand. Against the side, can be very strong. But currently Steve Smith at the crease, 4 of 18. Yes, I just updated in Discord about Kovaja. Says, Robert, 18 overs done. Is it 20 overs warrants a game? And ODI straight away, Steve Smith goes after the ball. The pull shot off the front foot. That's going to be 4 runs. Welcome to the crease once again. And also we are 104 for 1. And also we won the first game. Says Beds Ablaze. Did we? Oh, I'm thinking of the T20s, aren't I? They dominated us in a couple of those T20s. I'm not wrong. So we're all right in the ODIs. It's just T20s that we don't seem to go too well in. But I guess look at the World Cup. Not our best one that we have is Steve Smith. He is not normally aggressive. Okay, now he's back in behind the ball. I think he had a little moment where he decided he'd be not himself, go aggressive, see what that does to the bowling attack's confidence. It is Roach at the moment bowling, but the thing is, if you're going to bowl a short ball to Steve Smith, you cannot bowl it so it's chest height because he very much enjoys that. And 1-0 to them in the T20, says Bezza Blaze. Yeah, because a couple of those games also had rain in them, didn't they? Steve Smith, though, 8 of 20. And Labuschagne sitting on 81 of 161. This is one of the key partnerships that we'll see from Australia. That's close, but it's going to be going over the stumps, and I think there might have been a bit of bat on it as well there. And I says Max and Plays, welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing very well because he's come out and said he wants to get his form back to get centuries, says Robert in there for Usman Kovaja. But yeah, that's the thing. Kovaja is one of those players that he's going to be relatively, even when he feels he's out of form, he's still going to be scoring runs. Like for him, 60 or whatever it was that he managed to get in this game, he'll consider that out of form because they had a couple chances to get him out. But like a lot of batsmen would take 60. Just ask a couple of the openers for a few of the other countries, and quite a few of them you can't ask because they're no longer playing like international cricket because they weren't able to get themselves to 60. Bat speed 62 kilometers an hour there for Steve Smith. Now, I couldn't tell you if that's quick or slow for a bat to be flying through. I think it's pretty quick, but I'm not too sure whether or not it is quicker than a normal bat swing or if it was slow. I'd assume he's got pretty quick hands, Steve Smith, though. Outside of our stump, Roach. Trying to play that one off the back foot. Smith not quite getting it. Smith wants to get his form back like 2013, 2014. Yeah, see, that's the thing. He's been struggling a little bit, but I think that's because bowling has probably come a long way. People are starting to work out how to get him out. Look at Neil Wagner in that series up against the Kiwis. Look at Stuart Broad and also Jimmy Anderson. They slowly started to work him out in the Ashes, but it's a tricky one to do because he has changed his technique, which means you're no longer facing up against the same Steve Smith. He no longer steps to the offside as much as well, I should mention. He kind of just shuffles, little arm shimmy for him now, but that is the end of the first over of the third session, and it is going to be 166 for 2. Now, they will be able to make up those extra overs. I would think it looks like relatively nice weather, so it shouldn't be too bad for them, but at the moment, leading wicket takers, see there for the West Indies, Roach is sitting on 74 matches, 252 wickets. So the next man that he might be able to catch is Joel Garner. Then he's got a long way to go till Gibbs, and then an even further way to go till Marshall, Ambrose, and Walsh. He's currently ahead of Michael Holding, though. Only recently overtaking him there, but the best figures on there, 7 for 22, pretty impressive from the West Indies. The slower bowling of Mayers, it was effective in the first session. I didn't get to see it too much in the second session, although we did see that he was able to pick up the wicket of Usman Khawaja. So he'll be pretty happy with that. And Brian Lara, Mark Howard, and Mark Waugh on commentary says it was Robert. And of course, Brian Lima. Not Lima. Who's Brian Lima? That's the chiropractor from the Sevens. He's coming up later on tonight or tomorrow. Brian Lara presenting the cap to the young debutant in the West Indian side. But Mayers now outside of off stump once again. Luckily for him, the ball's still swinging a little bit, which does mean that it may be beneficial if he just keeps on bowling. He's already done, I believe, 7 overs. He has bowled. This will be his 8th. I'm not sure whether the West Indies, I don't think they'll go with spin yet, but spin might not be a terrible option. see whether or not you can lure one of these two into a false shot. For now, Myers seems to be the best option. Always putting it just outside of the off stump. Doesn't really attack the stumps, though, which is similar to what we saw for the whole of the West Indies side in their first two sessions. Only 18 balls hitting the stumps. Now, we know that Optus is a relatively bouncy track, so a lot of the balls that are straight are going to go over the stumps, but only 18 out of about 260 other deliveries that weren't hitting the stumps might not quite be enough. They may have wanted to be around that 30-plus mark just to threaten. At the moment, it looks like Labuschagne was a little bit out of his crease. They are saying Mayers, he's bowling pretty well. It's that medium pace, or almost medium slow, I guess you could call it. It's similar to Tim Southey's pace, although it looks like Southey has to put in a lot more effort to get towards that 125, whereas Mayers kind of dawdles in, puts it outside the off stump, leaves it, and then goes back to his mark and does it again. They've currently still got the two slips, though, for the West Indies, and also a gully. One's outside of the off stump. Nice drive from Labuschagne. He decided he wanted to take it on. This one, it's going to be a long chase, and I think it's going to just pull up before the boundary rope. Should be able to get through for three. Oh, it's going to be a mix-up, but it wasn't the throw that they were after. Steve Smith has said yes, I believe. How many did they get there? Okay, they managed to get the 4 runs for that one for Marnus Labuschagne. So actually very nicely done by the Australian Steve Smith and Marnus. Some would say that they share a brain at times while they're at the crease, although they were getting a little bit muddled there. And also the bowl spin in the second session. They also had a little tiny bit of it in the first session. But I'm thinking whether or not they bowl a little bit more of it and try and create the opportunity, because they've also got Braithwaite as an option rather than just outside of off stump left alone once again, rather than just Roston Chase, although I think Braithwaite has had a few overs so far in the scorecard. One moment, we'll go like this. We'll go like this. And no, they haven't actually bowled Braithwaite yet. Might be a decent option. We did see Roston Chase. He was going in an economy of 4.67. And Jason Holder also has had a very good economy rate. So maybe he wouldn't be a bad option of bringing him back into the bowling attack at some point throughout this third session. Definitely in the heat. 29 degrees or so it's supposed to be throughout a majority of this session. By the end of it, they should be getting down to maybe 20, 27. Still a bit warm, though. Nice played once again by Steve Smith. Gets him behind that one, defends nicely. Just talks to the ball as it's rolling to the man at short mid-wicket. He's closing in on the century, which would not really be a rare sight for Australian supporters over the last 12 months. Rain has some. Rain has some, as in the rain is at New Zealand, India, or has the rain stopped? Do let me know, Padza. It's going to be outside of off stump once again, left alone. The run rate for the Australians currently 2.87, so not too bad overall for how quickly they are ticking over. They may look to attack a little bit more near the end of the day if they are still only the 2 wickets down, but for now, it's more about just tiring out the West Indian bowlers. Got plenty of time in the test match. We had the question earlier on, or we had a bit of a discussion about it. If Australia were to score 500, 550, would we end up seeing the possibility of a follow-on? Now, we did see them in Pakistan. They got it a little bit wrong for the Australians. And also 24 degrees now in Perth, says Robert. So yeah, still very hot compared to, I think we're about 9 degrees here. So it's a bit different, isn't it? Steve Smith currently, though, going to be on strike. 3 balls left of this one. If you can get it outside the off stump, pitched up, see if Steve Smith is willing to go for it. You got to get it in the eye line, though. You can't just have it kind of up there. That's better. Pitched up outside off stump, ended up swinging away a little bit. Steve Smith, when you get a nod of approval from that man, it means you're doing something right. And Roach knows that that's the kind of ball he's going to bowl on the next delivery as well. So just swinging away slightly, goes off the seam. Smith, he played the line of it, but it did end up running away from him. They were pretty happy with that one as well. Although the slip cordon didn't look That's the thing. I mention it all the time. The West Indian side, oh, that was a nice cutter. Off cutter, I should say, for Roach. Oh, he manages the misfield, Joseph, but just keeps it to the single. Smith gets himself off the mark. Yeah, they never look like they're actually not awake, but they never look fired up, which I feel like is one of those ones they need to be a little bit, maybe a bit more excited, look like you're going, trying your best to get those wickets, but they all look like they're just chilled out, relaxing in the sun, enjoying a nice trip to Perth. Roach now. Another ball outside of off stump. That one a bit wider. Labuschagne leaves it alone, and that will be the end of the 60th over. 171 for 2. Roach is sweating profusely at the moment. I would say he's probably got 2 more overs max in him, and then they may look to switch them up. But they need a wicket here, or else Australia, they will bat the rest of the session, and they will probably bat at least 2 sessions tomorrow before they even consider a declaration. They'll be looking for 500 plus here. Is it raining? Outside Hamish, New Zealand is 104 for 1. Rain stop play again in Christchurch. At the moment for us, it's not raining, which probably means it's all headed north to Christchurch. And all I'm going to say is if it rains like it did here, they're not getting any more playing because it was wet today. So fingers crossed that it's not that rain. And I also think what Pizza means is covers are on. And Christchurch says Robert, and also hi, says Amelia. Welcome back. Once again, outside of the off stump, left alone by Smith, sitting 9 for 30. So I guess the big question is, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to ask 2 of them. It's a 2-parter. Will Labuschagne get a century, yes or no? And also, then from there, who will be the next batsman who is out? So I'm going to say Labuschagne. He hasn't looked too troubled, has he? I think Labuschagne's going to get the 100, but then he will be the next batsman dismissed. Nicely played by Smith. And behind it, and raining here too, says Robert. And be in Australia. So hopefully the weather stays nice in Perth. And I'll see it stop for now, says Pads Ablaze. So I don't think they've had the rain that we had. 20 overs constitutes the game, so 18 overs are done. So it will be a draw, says Coding there. So yeah, New Zealand's sake, they'll be hoping to have 2 more overs somewhere. Mayer's a bit more pitched up. Steve Smith plays it nicely out through cover. And it looks like they might be able to push for 3 here, but some good fielding. Oh, little run out opportunity, but not the best throwback. And they do manage to get the 3 runs. I agree with you, says Robert. And there as well. But Steve Smith now moves up to 12. Labuschagne 15 to go before he gets a century. I would say he gets it before 200 balls as well. He's one of those players that when he gets close, he kind of speeds up a little bit more, just because I think he hates being in the nervous 90s. But yeah, nice shot from Smith. Almost a full toss. And Marnus will get 100, and then he'll go out with head and next. Or he'll go out with head and next. Says Robert, nicely pitched up. Labuschagne, ooh, he was ready to try and play that one if Mayers decided to throw it back at him. Water. Got to be good for you. Although it's not completely water, it's active water. Well, it says apparently. Makes it active. It's been thrown around a bit before making it into the bottle, perhaps. The water's had a very active lifestyle. Apparently 2.86 is the run rate. So Australia, I would be surprised if they close out the game with a run rate of less than 3. West Indies test record in 2022. They've had 3 wins, 2 draws, but they have not lost a single test match throughout 2022. So finding quite a nice vein of form. Though up against Australia in Australia, certainly a big test for anyone. And it will be an easy series for Australia. What do you think, says Coding? Oh, in swinging Yorker almost. No run is the call from Marnus. Just the single taken. I don't know about easy. It should be less challenging than some of their series, but the Windies are still a tough side. If they end up getting it right, that's the thing. They are the type of side that can tear through a lineup. If they're on their A game, you know, we could see, if they get 1 wicket, we could see another 5 falling in that same session. But they just need to find that line and length that they'll be after. They need to get through these couple of the Australians. You need Travis Head out, which sometimes the best time to get Travis Head out is when he's in his first kind of 20 or so balls. Then alongside that, then you start getting down the order a little bit. You still got some pretty good talented players in the middle order, including a wicketkeeper, Alex Carey. Oh, okay, Jason Holder back into the lineup for bowling. And I got a doctor's appointment on Monday, says Amelia. And there as well. Holder, the big man, 2 meters tall, 5 maidens from 8 overs. They've got three slips and a gully. Mark Wars just said he feels that he hasn't bowled enough here for Jason Holder. It's on the money straight away. Bit of a way swing there, but it was on leg stump. Marnus Labuschagne able to defend it. Now Holder looks like he's having a problem with his shoe. And also we're going to put it this way, Cody. West Indies haven't won in Australia for 25 years, says Robert. Although it's one of those ones we thought that New Zealand were going to win up against Bangladesh easily because they had never won on New Zealand soil. And then Bangladesh just smashed New Zealand is the best way of putting it. Although saying that, they didn't have the start like this, 175 runs on the ball with only 2 wickets down. The West Indies, like I mentioned, they need to have Australia 5 down by the end of this day. Pitched up, or Marnus likes it. And he's going to get the cover drive beautifully. That will be racing away to the boundary for 4. And he will move on to 90 now of 173. Marnus timing that one perfectly. And also my friend and I booked tickets to go see the Phantom of the Opera in January. And I can't wait. Says Amelia there. And also T20 versus Test versus ODI. Which is you like more? I like Test match, then T20, then ODI. That's probably my order. Mainly because Test match, I feel like it's more of a challenge in terms of patience and persistence. T20, if you enjoy a bit of a quick action, 3.5 hour, see some big shots, see some beautiful bowling, that's your bet. And then if you want an ODI, which is kind of a halfway in between, then that's your other option. But in terms of commentary, that's probably the order in terms of what we like to commentate as well. I think Test match is the best for commentary, then T20, and then ODI, which we haven't actually done an ODI yet. That's not by mistake. That's because they are very long. Holder decided to pitch it up a little bit more outside of that off stump. Labuschagne was very keen on it. And also we have got that Hamish, is Amelia bothering you? No? Is she bothering you, Tony? I don't think. I mean, it's one of those ones that it's just the chat, isn't it? We just hear from everyone what they're up to. I think I'm kind of used to that by now. Now, Holder outside of off stump, little bit of a away movement there. Labuschagne leaves it alone. Currently 90 off 175 deliveries for him. Smith sitting on 12 off 32. I don't think he'll end up ramping up his run rate too much by the end of tonight unless we see the spin come back into the attack. Then we might see a little bit more aggression from Smith because first ball of the session, he actually smacked it away to the leg side for 4 off a pull shot. Holder slowly making his way back to his mark. Doesn't seem in any hurry. And also we have got there, who's the Phantom? And there. And also we have got there, who's the Phantom? I don't actually know. I haven't watched Phantom of the Opera. Is it a movie as well? I think it is a movie, isn't it? And also, sorry, Amelia, I'm fun. Nice to see you. And also, all good, Tony. See Amelia there. That's outside of the off stump once again. It's a musical. Is it also a movie? Or have I got the wrong one? Phantom of the Open is a movie. It's about golf. But I don't think you're going to see that. And there's a movie. Says Amelia, currently 90 on strike, Marnus Labuschagne. 1 ball left of the Holder over. And I would assume we're going to see a bowling change at the other end within the next 2 or 3 overs. Roach will be getting tired. Well, that came back in a little bit. It is once again going to be the end of the over. 4 off it. And also, but who's playing the Phantom? So the musical. For the musical. Is it rainy season in New Zealand? It's summer, almost, which is nice. We all love a nice, warm summer. At the moment, it looks like we're going to have a nice, wet summer rather than warm. We've already had enough rain, though, to last us like the year. So it shouldn't be this wet, but it is wet, if that makes sense. And also Michael Crawford. And this is far. right? Roach has got his hat on. So it is going to be Mayers who will once again be bowling. So we've got a couple slightly different bowlers. Mayers, the shorter of the two. And then you got Holder, who is massive at the other end. Oh, good and swinging ball, but nice shot from Smith. Whipping it away to the mid-wicket boundary, and that will be another 4 runs for the Australians. And I'm not too sure who's playing the role of Phantom. When I go see him, Phantom is a guy with a great voice and a funny face that makes sweet love to a beautiful opera singer after a lot of stalking. It's gross, says Tony Martinez in there. Interesting concept, I guess. I don't know whether or not they'll be allowed to do that one nowadays in terms of the script. And as I know, in the movie, Gerard Butler plays the Phantom of the Opera. The role of the Phantom. And if Smith gets a century, he goes level with Don Bradman for centuries, says Robert. And he's still got plenty of time left, Steve Smith, so he might be looking to go even a little bit further than that in terms of the centuries he's been able to put together. Myers outside of off stump. Smith leaves. And also Rain's having India again, says Rice in there here. We knew the rain was going to hit at some stage, but it was probably a little bit later than people anticipated. So the fact that they were able to get through so much of the match is slightly, I guess, annoying in some regards, because they did get to see some good bowling from the Black Caps, and they would have loved to get just 2 more overs in. That's all they need. And then it counts as a match. And remember, Russell Crowe and Les Miserables. I always say it wrong. Is that how you say it? Who else was in Les Miserables? That's not how you say it. Hugh Jackman. He was in it, wasn't he? Who else did they have? Hugh Jackman. There would have been some women in it in terms of the lead roles. Were there women in? Yeah, there would have been. I haven't seen it in a long time. Or, in fact, I haven't really seen it. I saw 5 minutes of it while my sister was watching. And the Matt Lucas, is he in it? Maybe? I'll do, Hamish. Says, I'll say it was 50% rain in Christchurch, and the Phantom does creep me out just a little because he stalks Christine and just out of the blue talks her into his lair, says Amelia. It's going to be a nice shot from Smith this time. Whipped away to the lead side. A little bit straighter with that one. Cut off by Brooks, and they will just take the 2 runs. Anne Hathaway. Is she in it, is she? I did not know that. She wasn't the one I was thinking of. I was thinking of that Kate Beckinsale. She's in something else, isn't she? Or she's in a lot of stuff. She's an actress. Matt Lucas from Little Britain. Yeah, that's the one. Is he in it? Or he might be actually... He might have been in a remake of it that they did in like a theatre. That's what one of those things is called, isn't it? Oh, so Anne Hathaway, pale and pasty, probably a vegan, says Tony Martinez. I mean, I'm 2 of those 3 things. You can probably guess what I'm not, though. That's going to be the end of the over. 2 for 185 now. They still need the breakthrough wicket here, the West Indies. If they want a chance in this contest, I'm actually going to have a quick look, see what the percentage. It says there's a 1% chance that West Indies win, 9% chance of the draw. Those are pretty tricky odds. And there's a lot of musicals that need to be left just as just a musical and don't need a movie adaptation. Would you say that Cats was one of them? That was a weird one, wasn't it? Everyone kind of, the phone's ringing. By the way, that's what you will hear anytime the phone rings, just because it's now in the background, because fiber. We got fiber, and you make pale and pasty hot. Nah, it's the beard. No, it's not the beard. The beard doesn't exist. Now, with November coming to an end, I'm supposed to shave off my face, aren't I? Well, the face here on it. I think I'm dehydrated from cricket training. Holder now, pitched up delivery. Smith blocks nicely. Goes out to the man. A little bit of a wide mid-on. Mid-off, in fact, it was. Your favourite movie and actors. Favourite movie I struggle with. Anything that makes me have a bit of a giggle I enjoy. Just because, as you guys know, I'm not a very serious individual. So if I was to watch a serious movie, I feel like I always look for the funny side of things, which sometimes there's not really much of a funny moment. Oh, that came back in. Michael Holder. Well, not Michael. Jason. He liked that. Love the musical. Can't stand the movie because of how horrendous it is, says Amelia. And also, Cats is a perfect example of a crappy movie adaptation. And New Zealand ranked first comfortably in the ODI. Anyone seen 1983? I wasn't born. Haha. Comedy. No, I haven't seen it. And Mr. Felice turned out to be the world's first transgender cat. Impressive. Your favorite actors? I don't know. I don't really know about that either, to be honest. I remember watching London Has Fallen in a movie theater and thinking that Gerard Butler was pretty cool. This is when I was like 12. But other than that, well, he's not actually one of my favorite actors, I would say, anyway. Something with a bit of funniness in it. Will Ferrell, I don't mind him sometimes. Mark Wahlberg's all right. Kevin Hart, The Rock, just the basic ones who are in every single movie that has ever been made at the moment. Cricket film on Netflix. Might have to give it a look. I want to try and watch more Netflix, which sounds weird to say, but I don't watch enough of it. Like, I have a Netflix subscription. The last time I got to watch Netflix was probably June. It's been a while. So I need, actually, ladies and gentlemen, Netflix series recommendations. All movies. What do I need to watch? Don't set me up here. Give me decent ones. Don't give me like the worst ranked things. That's a shot and a half. Go on. Labuschagne straight out through cover. It's going to be 4 more runs. He moves up to 94 now. As Kittens in the musical, if I remember right, Cats, says Tony Martinez that is a great shot from Labuschagne. Like I mentioned, once he gets into the 90s, he don't like to mess around. He's going to keep on going and going until he gets to that century. And Holder's just given him the chance to. Easy Virgin River. I should have expected that, shouldn't I? I don't mind horror and blood. A fact, it doesn't put me off, nor does the jump scares. That's how some people are killed. It's what puts me off, says Amelia there. Man on the Moon, best movie ever. Is that about Elton John? No, that's Rocket Man, isn't it? Was that about Elton? Oh, Elton John had a movie, didn't he? I think. Christmas movies. Mum's already into those. She was watching Christmas movies in July. And 1983 is entertaining 2.5 hours. Watch that, says Far there. And Bad Boy Bubby, best Australian movie ever. I haven't actually heard of Bad Boy Bubby. This bottle's not very quiet. Man on the Moon, that Andy Kaufman. Can I be honest with you, Tony? I don't know who Andy Kaufman is. Sorry. Is he an act? No, I assume it's like a documentary. Wait, did he go to the moon? That might make sense if he was an astronaut and we just lost the cricket. Has it been called off? Pads ablaze. And Bad Boy Bubby says fine. And also I find it when jump scares happen, I jump out of my seat and start laughing. I guess it's better than jumping out of your seat and starting crying, isn't it? I normally do that when I finish a stream. Jaden Seals back into the bowling attack. 3 slips in a gully. Pitched up delivery. Smith says thank you very much. And he's going to take at least the 2 runs here. They're going to run hard. They may even be able to get the 3, if not 4, by the time this ball stops. Do they get one on the throw? They do not. Nicely fielded there in the deep. And also we have there, what was that noise, Amish? Says Beds Ablaze. Which one? The bottle noise? Or just in general? And of course I was going to say Virgin River, says Amelia. And Rocket Man was Elton John's movie. I see. And Rocket Man was bad, says Far. And what's current time in Christchurch? Match can extend till 10:30 local time. It's currently 8:50 p.m. So still an hour and 40 minutes worth that they can play for. So, yeah. I would think by about 10, though, they might start to look at whether or not it's worth waiting around for an extra 30 minutes. But the lights at Hagley, I think, are quite decent. Now, running in once again. Nice little bit of a leg cutter there from Seals. Didn't quite get it past the bat. Oh, Labuschagne, I got the hiccups now. A West Indies team, 3-class Team Australia, won by 219 runs. Says Sayed there. And I was have you seen the Elvis movie? I have not. I cried like a little baby at the end of Elvis, says Amelia. No, I have a lot of movies I need to watch. And Hamish, the reason you haven't heard of Andy Kaufman, he died in 1984. Was he involved in spaceships? That silence afterwards was too long. Nice cutaway from Labuschagne. Once again, looking out through the point region. Roston Chase chases it down. They get the 3. Good running between the wickets from Australia there. And now Labuschagne moves up to 97 runs on the board. Last 45 balls, 33 runs. They're certainly not allowing the West Indies to get any dots. As of late, it just seems to be the more that the West Indies try and persist outside that off stump, the more Australia are attacking. And it's a tricky one. Oh, a little bit of a mix-up there between Steve Smith and Labuschagne when they were running between the wickets. Andy Kaufman in the wrestling match. Yeah. Wait, a wrestler? Is he a wrestler? I'm such a naive boy when it comes to this stuff. I have no idea. I'm going to look up Andy Kaufman, American entertainer. Interesting. American entertainer and performance artist. Called a comedian, preferred to describe himself as a song and dance man. Sometimes being called an anti-comedian. Isn't an anti-comedian just someone who's not funny? And Andy was world intersectional wrestling champion. It's an impressive feat, isn't it? Seals outside off stump. Wow. Straight to the fielder. If that missed him, Labuschagne was going to be raising his bat and taking his helmet off. And Himalaya said, hi, welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing very well. Currently, Australia doing very well in the early stages of this test match. 196 for 2. Yeah, that was a great shot along the ground for Marnus Labuschagne. Middle of the bat. He is seeing the ball extremely well. He wrestled over 160 women and never lost. That's a big number. 160. Over like a span of his career, I assume. Oh, plays of the pull shot, Labuschagne. He's out to the leg side, deep mid-wicket, or deep square leg, in fact, able to take that one, and that will be the end of the over. 65 down, 2 for 97. 100 added on to that as well, 197. The run rate, I mentioned about the fact that they look to speed it up a little bit. 3.03 now, the Australians are scoring out. Watch Eddie the Eagle. That's a laugh. I think I've seen that in a theatre. Maybe. I think I've actually watched Eddie the Eagle. It's got that guy from the movie in it. I'm going to have to look up Eddie the Eagle now to see who the main guy is. Eddie the Eagle movie. Yeah. Taron Egerton. And I believe he has been in Kingsman something. Yeah, Kingsman. He was the main guy in Kingsman movies. That's where I know him from. I actually got something kind of right, other than his name. I was never guessing that name. Taron Egerton. Welsh. That's where he's from. A theatre. Says far. Yeah, movie theatre. And not a live action film of Eddie the Eagle. That would be quite dangerous inside of a small room, I would think. Having the man on the big jump. And he wrestled more than 5 women a night sometimes, says Tony. Like, just for fun? Or was he getting paid for this? Or was he just like, I'll wrestle random people? Sounds like that local guy at the pub who was drunk and just decided that he just wanted to fight everyone. Might have been Irish. Silver takes that one nicely. And once again, Labuschagne ticking over the runs. He's up to 99. Oh, 188 now. And that is the 200 up for the Australians. Doing very well. And did you laugh? I believe I did. I might have been a bit young to get some of the jokes. This is 2016, so I might have been about 17 or 16. That's not too young, though, is it? I think I did have a laugh at it. Because if I remember the main guy well enough that I knew what else he was in, I feel like that's a good sign. I think we've only ever been to about 5 movies at the theatre, or the cinema, as they say. Me and the boys. I think we've gone to one of the Transformers movies, which I hadn't seen the rest of them, so that was not ideal. Batman versus Superman, hadn't seen the rest of them, so that wasn't ideal. Eddie the Eagle, London has fallen, hadn't seen the rest of them, so that wasn't ideal. And then also one other one that I can't remember that I'm sure we've been to. That's a nice drive from Steve Smith. They're starting to ramp up now, Australia, continuing to bring up the runs. And that will be a 50-run partnership. Chunder Paul cuts it off in the deep. And that will be the 50-run partnership. I'm sure we've been to one more movie, me and the lads. It would have been a comedy because we're not very serious people. But I remember one of them, George went in with wet pants because he spilled a drink on himself. And does George eat popcorn? Not sure. I feel like he would much rather than popcorn have just a bag of lollies or chocolate or something, you know? And Andy creator Tony Clifton, who still performs today, various entertainers have played him since, mostly Andy's old manager. Okay, I feel like there's a story that I don't know here that maybe I should know. And Adam Gilchrist, Ian Smith, and Kerry O'Keefe in the commentary. Yeah, good combination up in the box at the moment. And does, howdy, says Andy Mike. Welcome in, mate. I hope you are doing very well. First cricket live stream in quite a while that we are doing on the channel. Mr. Bean. Mr. Bean is a very good movie or a series. I think I've got Mr. Bean on cartoon, actually, in one of the bookshelves. I've actually got a Mr. Bean pop vinyl figure. That's the only one I've ever had, and it's a Mr. Bean one. Fun little fact. Marnus wasn't keen for the wide ball. Still sitting on 99, and that is the end of the 66th over now, 203 for 2. Mr. Bean or KFC. So if I had to pick one of them for the rest of my life, I'd probably, to be honest, I would go Mr. Bean. Just because KFC, like, yeah, it's all right. Don't get me wrong. This is terrible if I ever get a sponsorship, isn't it? You're going to send them this and I'll get fired. But KFC, don't get me wrong, it's nice. But you've still got other fast food outlets. You've got Subway. That's not really fast food. You got Burger King, McDonald's, Pizza Hut, all those options. Whereas Mr. Bean, how many people other than going way back in the day like Charlie Chaplin have you got that don't talk but still are funny? You know, you got a bit of a rarity off the outside edge of Steve Smith through the slip cord, and that's going to be another 4 runs. Australia really ramping it up now. And this must be very frustrating for the West Indies. But yeah, so I'll go Mr. Bean if I had to pick between the two. And Audi and Australia back again with clinch, kill and dream for the opposition, says Andy Mike. And I've seen a little vampire in cinemas in the Harry Potter Philosopher's Stone, Chamber of Secrets, Steve Irwin's movie, Elf, Monsters Inc. and SWAT in cinemas, says Robert in there. So quite the collection. I've actually, way back in the day, I remember me and my friend, we went with his older sister and her friend to Miley Cyrus The Climb. Now, I have to say, movie wasn't bad for what it was. We were about 8, so we were never really going to be too keen on it. But the thing that really ruined it for me was the fact that I got a bag of fruit tubes at the start of the movie, went to rip them open, all over the floor. I got about 4, and that was disappointing. Because, you know, when you're in the movies, parents give you a certain amount of money. They go, here's like $10 for food. That was like $5 worth. So there wasn't much coming back from that. Unfortunately, REM are now, Andy, did you hear about this one? Tell me, are you locked in the punch? Andy, are you goofing on Elvis? Hey, baby, are you having fun? Interesting. Is that a quote? If it isn't, it's a weird bit of foreplay, but that is going to be going out to the man on the leg side. Just once again, ticking over. Smith up to 33. Marnus has the strike. He's got 3 balls of this over to bring up the century. I can't wait to go see the new Matilda movie. Is it like a remake of the old one, Amelia, or is it a different one? And also, we have got their mate, check out Stormy Justice on YouTube, and New Zealand ODI are going to be washed out today, but it'd be like 2-0 for them, says Andy Mike. Yeah, it's a shame because New Zealand, they just need 2 more overs, but I don't think they're going to get there. Sing it, Hamish. The REM part? Big, very big sung song, Man on the Moon about Andy. I wouldn't know that song. It's a musical or movie adaptation of the musical version. Ah, I see. Did Roald Dahl write it first, Amelia? Do let me know. Was he the first one to do Matilda? and then that then created the movie and then the musical? Or was the musical first and Roald Dahl was like, yeah, I'll get a piece of that, and then they then made the movie? It's hard to know orders of things, isn't it? Labuschagne, we know that this will not be his first century if he can get a run here. 99 of 191 balls. His eyes are wide open. Does the cut shot. That's through the gap. Labuschagne will bring up the century. I believe it's going to be racing close to the boundary here. They take the 2 runs. In fact, they're going to take the 4 as it rolls onto the boundary. And also we have the Roald Dahl wrote the book, which was first. Says Amelia, but Manus, well batted. 103 of 192. How close could that LBW shout have been had it not been a no ball? Was going to be umpire's call for the LBW, so I feel like that's not one that could have been a possibility, but it's 8th test, 123 or 29 matches, I believe, and surely Roald Dahl wrote it first. I remember reading Roald Dahl books as like a class in primary school or high school, one of the early ones, and that was fun. He got some good books. Oh, here's a question, ladies and gentlemen. Original Charlie and the Chocolate Factory movie or the remake? It's the question of that guy who did it first, who unfortunately, I remember he passed away, but I can't remember his name to save myself, or Johnny Depp's version of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. That's a nice shot from Manus. He's kind of just swinging now, but it's working for them. They're able to get themselves another single into the over. Manus moves up to 104. And I love Roald Dahl books as a kid. Gene Wilder, that's the name. So yeah, do you prefer that version or the Johnny Depp version? An original Gene Wilder, says Tony there. This seems to be like we might be finding a trend here. Gene Wilder played the original Mr. Wonka. Was that your favorite one? I'm trying to think of what else there's been in terms of movies that have been remade with different actors playing them. Like I mentioned, I don't watch a lot of movies, so I'm pretty bad in this category. How's it going? It's going good. Did manage to do some of the first session. Then we went to cricket training myself. I have to say I wasn't playing as well as Manus. I got bowled a few times, but we were testing out the bowling machine. That thing can bowl a mean and swinging Yorker. It's probably lucky not to end up with no toes by the end of it. But yeah, now we're back for the final session of the day. Currently already 45 minutes through it almost. Pretty massive. The Australians, they look set here. These do. Smith sped up his run rate a little bit. I love both of them. I like the creepy factor that Johnny Depp brings, says Amelia there. Sorry, my brain's now just trying to work out what movies we've had. I mean, the James Bond movies. How many James Bonds have they had? Quite a few. I haven't actually seen any James Bond movie. That's not good. What's the other series? The Bourne Identity? Is that the name of the movie? The Bourne series? I haven't seen them with Matt Damon. There's only one of him, though. Okay, the bat speed of Manus was 53 kilometers. And like neither, Gene Wilder, far better in Young Frankenstein. Another movie I haven't seen. I feel like I need to watch a lot more movies, don't I? You've been watching the Black Caps. I've been keeping an eye on them. Unfortunately, the rain seems like it's going to be causing a halt of this one. And you'd have to wonder, will New Zealand regret how slowly they made their way through their bowling overs now that they're only going to be too short of being able to complete the match? Like I said to Dad at about the 35th over, is it just me or has New Zealand taken forever to bowl these? And he said, yeah, no, they're taking their time, which could cost them. And also Jason Holder once the captain of West Indies. I think Braithwaite was the previous one. And yeah, he is now back to captaincy. Craig Braithwaite for this matchup. Team America, good movie. Team America, is that the one with the puppets? Maybe. I think I've seen like 3 seconds of that. Or maybe like a minute. I feel like I need a movie review channel where I just go through all these movies I should have already seen. You see, Manus was very happy to get their 100, and AA Mishauser says, Carl, welcome in, mate. I hope you are doing very well. And also we have got Team America, just the best softcore puppet sex scene ever made in it, says Tony there. I see. No, I can't say I've seen that one. Team America is a fantastic movie for the family, says Keith. It sounds it by Tony's comment. As long as it's only softcore. But yeah, how's the weather looking in South Africa? CP, do let me know, because I am curious whether or not the URC are going to continue drinks breaks all the way through the URC competition, or whether it's only when it's hot weather. I'm a little bit uneducated. Lovely. And Black Cats also lost the T20 series because it sat in midfield. Last ball in Napier, then rain occurred, says Cody. No shame once again outside of the off-stump. Team America is a good movie for the family, Hamish, says CP. Is it? How old are the family? It's raining here again. Not there, that's blue sky, but above there, it's not good. And also we have got the disclaimer, it's the only puppet sex scene I have seen, but I liked it, says Tony. Okay, fair enough. I guess I can't knock it till I've seen it, can I? Team America. Is that the one with the America F Year song? Is that from that? Just outside of the off stump, once again left alone by Labuschagne, 104 runs he's on. Smith's going to be able to bring up his half century here if he keeps on continuing at this rate as well. But it was a great cut shot from Marnus, found the gap, and yeah, it was 32 degrees hot. Yeah, so they'll still need drinks breaks, won't they? I see the Sharks have got rid of their coach. Best puppet sex scene ever. Seems like everyone's on the same page in that statement. So it's slowly going to be hot days here, says CP. Marnus, it seems like this one meant just a little bit more to him some of the previous centuries. Maybe because we haven't seen him in action for a little while. America F yeah, says Tony there. Partnership 64 of 95 deliveries now. So they're saying that Labuschagne may have matured because he had a child. Roston Chase back into the bowling attack, needs to get the breakthrough wicket. If Australia can keep on scoring as freely as they are now, that run rate may end up being 4 and over by the end of today. Roston Chase, some loft on that one. It's going to be a nice shot. I think straight away the keeper said shot as well. That's going down the ground, 4 runs. And Steve Smith now moves up to 38. Australia in a run-scoring mood at Optus. And this is going to be hard for West Indies to stop. And when you need your box back, you know, deep, as our Sharks are cheeks. I'm sorry, all that money, no chemistry and squad depth, says CP. Yeah, like, that's the thing. 35-0's not even close, is it? Like, at the end of the day, they lose by 7 or so, people might go, yeah, it was a bit unfortunate. When we get our next players back into the side, we're going to be all right. But losing by that margin's just a little bit too much to be losing by. Oh, well, bowled by Roston Chase, getting it up there a little bit more. Steve Smith not keen to chase that one. Do Travis Head and Warner open in this match for Australia? They did go Warner and Kovaja. So Kovaja managed about 60-something, and Warner only got himself about 5. Roston Chase trying to get a bit of turn on that one. Oh, he's fallen over. Back up to his feet now, though. And A Dog's Purpose, great movie, says Tony. I would assume it's got a dog in it. That one. Plot twist if it didn't. That would be quite the clickbait, wouldn't it? And also Stormers had no box and still gave a good performance beside Dweber, says CP. Does he count as a Springbok, though? Joseph Dweber. That's going to be another 4 runs for Smith. He now moves up to 42. In Australia, their partnership is up to 72 of 100 deliveries. These two are scoring for fun. And the West Indies, this is going to be tricky. And to break this partnership, this needs to be broken, though. Because if it's not, Australia are going to have 300 by the end of the day. There's a possibility. We've only been going for about, I believe, 50 minutes of this session. In Australia, we're around that 160 mark, I believe, at the start of this session. Chase pitches it up. That's a little bit better. And how's the condition of cricket in New Zealand, says YSJ Boy. And in terms of the rain in Christchurch, because it's currently still bucketing down, I believe, in Christchurch. So the chances of them getting those last couple overs in might be a little bit slim. And he has a Springbok number, so yeah, says CP in there as well. Yeah, on paper, he's a Bok, isn't he? That was from me sneezing before. I think I'm allergic to how many runs the Australians are getting for themselves. They are scoring a lot of them at the moment here. Just showing Steve Smith played 2 different shots. Very similar, though, up against Roston Chase. So Smith 8 runs away from the half century. In terms of popularity, I think it's still up there. At the end of the day, like the Black Cats are still a well-supported team. I think the rain has been probably the thing that hurts the most. Not so much the results for the Black Cats, but I think that stop-startingness. Starty, I don't think that's a word. But, yeah, it's one of those ones that the more cricket they can play full matches, the better the support will be for them. But all these games getting rained off just hurt a little bit for the momentum they're trying to create. Nicely played once again. Labuschagne in behind it. Solid forward defensive and also 3 for 2. Special for the Stormers. Tickets 18th and the 23rd and New Year's Eve. CSCP from Cape Town. Also might be worth a crack. Going to the stadium perhaps. And YSJ, boy, never been better. All the game tonight, it's looking like toast. And also getting Warner open and Usman got 65. There's yeah. Could be disappointed with 65 for Usman Kovaja. He's one of those players, like I mentioned, 60 for him is not good enough. But for other people, they'll be like, yeah, 60 is pretty decent. A little bit of a misfield there from the fine leg, Brooks, but kept it to just the 1. How's everyone doing? Says Ed. Oh, I'm doing very well. Bit tired after the cricket, but that is playing rather than watching, I should say, for myself. But I'm doing not too badly. I feel like I'm in a very hyper mood. I might be dehydrated, so that might be why. It's a Neil Powell, former Sevens coach, is Sharks coach now. Lol, you can't make this up, says CP. And also, Hamish, are you saying this is the summer season in New Zealand on ground in Christchurch? It is so cold. That's summer. It's pretty much, we're one day off summer. So maybe by Christmas time it might be a bit warmer, but New Zealand, you don't really, if you're in the South Island that is, you don't really expect too much warmth till maybe January. And also wait for your streaming, or wait for your FIFA streaming, Hamish. Says Ed Vogel there. Yeah, we have got the FIFA World Cup hopefully coming up for some of the round of 16. I believe that will be when we are picking it up. We just want to get through the Cape Town Sevens, make sure that, or not the Cape Town Sevens, the Dubai Sevens, make sure that that's all going to run smoothly and that we don't have to worry about the copyright when it comes to FIFA. And then from there, we should be all good. And how'd you go on cricket day? I went all right. We were just facing off against the bowling machine for our training, just because we may not get to train tomorrow with the way the weather's looking. Nicely played by Steve Smith out to the left. And also we have got there where you cover knockouts in the FIFA World Cup, hopefully. Although we won't be able to cover all of them because the first game actually overlaps with the Dubai Sevens final. So we will be covering Dubai Sevens, but some of the round of 16 we should be able to cover on the channel. So keep an eye out for that. I believe the games are at 4 a.m. New Zealand time and 8 a.m. New Zealand time. So, and also, how's the weather in New Zealand, Hamish? It bucketed down today. She was very wet, but it should be better this weekend, I think, is when it's supposed to get a little bit clearer. Holden now pitching it up, Smith in behind it, and that will end the 70th over. 224 for 4 now, or sorry, for 2, I should say, for the Australians. And the Toyota Flying Fox. We did see actually in the Springboks England game, the Flying Fox got hit, or the Spider Cam. Last 6 over, 35 runs, scoring at 5.83 and over. This is something that the West Indies cannot maintain, or else Australia will be, like I mentioned, on 300 by the end of the day. They've still got another 20 overs left to play. It looks like Optus Stadium, there's some people in attendance, but not as many as they probably would have liked to have for a matchup of this caliber. Now Roston Chase about to bowl it again. Now there is a saying which is, Don't judge a pitch until both teams have batted. It's looking like a very good surface the way the Australians are playing it. So hopefully that is the same for the West Indies. Advancing down the ground, Labuschagne drives forward on the onside, and that will be down there for a single. I didn't realise there was a man there. I was getting a bit excited for the boundary possibility there, but Jason Holder, I keep on calling him Michael. He was there to cut it off. Now Chase, which is a little bit shorter, works to the leg side, almost a run-out opportunity, but they weren't able to get that throw away in time. So Australia for their game up against the West Indies. Currently for the West Indies to win this game, they are paying $52. For a draw is paying $9.20. For Australia to win is paying $1.05. That's quite a difference in terms of the odds. Roston Chase now though. A little bit lofty from Steve Smith, but not really too much trouble on it. They're going to be able to take the quick two. Once again, this great running between the wickets from the Australian 3 and 4. Steve Smith, he's now moved up to 44 runs. So he actually did the opposite of what I thought he would do. I thought he would sit a little bit more quiet compared to Marnus, but he's decided to just go attacking as well. And I was going to explain why the Bulls is above the Stormers. Same point difference, but Stormers have more bonus points, says CP. So the way that it works, I have the little sheet here on my phone, one moment. But yeah, it's all down to like the next kind of parts. Pink Panther 1965, great movie. Is that the one with the man off Cheaper by the Dozen? Is his name Bob? It's probably not Bob. But there's a man with a name, as most men have. And it's a thingy. Is that the Pink Panther, the cheeseburger, or the hamburger? I think it was, wasn't it? So the table, the way they decide it is first matches won, points difference. Then it's actually based off tries scored is the next one. So the Stormers must have scored more tries than the Bulls. So that must be why they're up there. And with the Stormers a game in hand, CCP and Peter Sellers, and you must cover competitive test series between England and Pakistan, says, Golding, we are going to be covering some of that series. We do, hopefully, depending on, of course, whether or not I have cricket training tomorrow night. That would be at 5:15 p.m., which is about 45 minutes before. In fact, no, that's a lie. I believe Pakistan versus England actually starts before that. So if it's raining, we may be able to cover some of that day. But if not, we may only be able to cover the last day, which will start at 11 p.m. New Zealand time. So I believe it's actually a 6 p.m. start time for Pakistan and England. Oh, so Steve Martin, you mean, Hamish? I was just trusting what Tony said. I would have no clue. But if it's Steve, it's Steve. If it's Peter, it's Peter. Inspirational. And more points than the Bulls, says CP. Now Holder. Still occupying one of the ends. The second new ball available in only 9 overs time. Coming back in a little bit, left alone by Marnus Labuschagne. Doesn't need to play out that one. He's just patient. The crease, does your dog bite? No, he just bit me. It's not my dog. Yes, the Pink Panther, bumbling French detective, says Tony there. Another movie I probably haven't seen. Other than I've seen like that clip about the hamburger. I need to watch some movies. I'm way behind in the times, I guess you could say. What was the first ever movie? I'll just start there and then just watch every single movie that ever existed. And also there, Steve Martin, crap 2010-ish remake. Peter Sellers, the genius, make the original. Says Tony there, and next name Steve Martin. Says Robert. Okay, so Peter Sellers, the original, Martin, or Steve Martin, the newer version. Steve might have a bit of a tight groin here, and I'm not talking about Steve Martin. Steve Smith. Looked like he was just stretching out a little bit. We actually already have 1 hour of the session. This has flown by. Only an hour to go, plus, of course, the extra time that they need to be able to close it out. And Metropolis, that's gone out through cover once again. Chasing this one hard. Oh, almost an ankle roll. They're going to be able to get the 3 runs once again. This is great running. I say it each time, but I'll say it again. Labuschagne and Smith just moving between the wickets so crisply. And also we've got there good early movie, says Tony there. 1934. Would have been in black and white, I assume. I'm not too sure when that changeover happened, though, from black and white to colour. Now, Smith on 44. He's got 6 runs to go. Does he decide to get them all in one go? And there was a Michael Holding in cricket. He's not related to Jason Holder. Yeah, different last names. Michael Holding normally on the commentary for the matchup, which I think is why I keep on saying his name as well. Those are some shiny sunglasses, bit of gold on them. Just like a lot of gold around a lot of these West Indian players' necks. They have the chains and the skills to match. What does that say? Why this cup? Oh, okay, that man's just drinking out of a recyclable cup. And Citizen Kane, 1941, regarded by some as the best ever. And also Smith needs a ton, says Shahid Khan. Yeah, it'll certainly give him confidence if he can get there. He's playing well. He hasn't really been troubled. Oh, he just did a little bit of a high boot towards the ball. That'll test out the groin. But they just need that breakthrough, the West Indies, if they want any chance of winning this game. Like I mentioned, they're 1% likely to win it. They're $52 underdogs. They haven't batted yet, but you would assume if it's like this for Australia, it would have to be like this a little bit for the West Indies. But the problem is that bowling attack of the Australians. You've got Pat Cummins, Mitchell Starc, Josh Hazlewood, Nathan Lyon, all going to be right in there causing problems. Are you streaming Champions Cup next week? I am hoping to. I have got it in the schedule. I haven't written down what games I'm doing of it yet. In 1954, Colour TV came in, says Robert there. Oh, change in the commentary box, but that is going to be the drinks break now for a little bit of time. I'll have a quick look at the Champions Cup fixtures because I know that some of them may end up overlapping with Cape Town Sevens. And you see the guy with the T-Rex costume at the cricket? I haven't yet, but you normally see a few. I remember Scooby-Doo from the last Test series. He was sitting there and just cooking while he was about. I want to do Sharks Harlequins. That's a game that I am definitely keen on. Then I feel like the most likely ones, to be honest, will be games involving the South African sides. And then if I had to pick a game on Monday night, maybe Munster to lose, if I can get that one in. And maybe Sale versus Ulster as well. But we'll see how we're going. As long as it doesn't overlap with the Cape Town Sevens, we should be all right. Excited to see Chanderpaul Jr. Yeah, presented a cap by Brian Lara, man who scored a lot of runs for the West Indies. But they said that his dad's watching from Orlando in the USA for this one. Oh, okay. Joseph coming back into the bowling attack. Good opportunity. He had a bit of pace near the end of the day. Give him a few overs before the new ball and then decide whether or not they are going to continue with him. And I know Stormers vs Clermont is 7:30 South Africa Standard Time. So that will be, which one? Stormers Clermont. Is it? Or is that Bulls versus Lyon that you're thinking of, Carl? So I see Stormers Clermont for me is 4:15 a.m. New Zealand time, which will work out to be 5:15 p.m. South African time, maybe, unless I've got the wrong one. Colour TV first in New Zealand just before 1974 Commonwealth Games. Says Tony, wow, that ball's taken off. I think he saw that Marnus was stepping away. So he decided, well, I'm just going to put it over your head so you can't do anything with it. I mean, one of the first wides that we've seen. It's got a beautiful ton in the practice match. Xerox, copy his father, says Shahid Khan. Yeah, I think that was part of Brian Lara's speech as well, wasn't it? He said, you had a good run in the practice match. Now just do the same thing and have fun with it, which it's a big opportunity. It's interesting because his father was in that middle order and he finds himself opening for the West Indies. So different, I guess, whole task that he's got to deal with. Short ball there. Nicely worked away by Marnus, keeping it low. My bad. It's 5:15 South Africa Standard Time lower, and Stormers is playing in France. And also his dad's watching in the States, says Robert. Oh, and the time in the USA, it must almost be a weird time, if I'm not wrong, but he will certainly not want to miss his son on debut. You only get one debut, normally. Yeah, it's bucketing down here. So if it's bucketing down in Christchurch, I don't think they're getting those extra 2 overs in that they want. Joseph, another short ball. It's hit the gloves of Marnus. It's going to be fine, nicely fielded down there by Roach. Could have been a boundary if he wasn't as careful and cautious as he was. Marnus moves to 110. He might be looking for his 150 by the end of today. Smith might be looking to get into around that 70 mark. And also we have got there, Amish, do Kiwis enjoy when Australia loses in any big tournament? Depends on the Kiwi. A lot of people have that rivalry with Australia, and then others just enjoy seeing Australia play. But then the weird thing is, the ones who are like, I don't like Australia in any sport or anything that Australia does. Where are you going on holiday? I'm going to Melbourne for a week. And it's like, yeah, but you're literally supporting their economy by visiting them. That's gone over the top. And I believe that could end up being 1 or 2 buys. Could it be wides as well? But yeah, I feel like some Kiwis do not like Australia. Other Kiwis are just like, yeah, we don't mind them. They're close by. And so I will overlap with the Cape Town Sevens, says CP. Oh, Carl, you might be able to answer me this question. They haven't done the draw or anything yet for Cape Town that I know of, but from what time in the morning to the time at night do the Cape Town Sevens run? If you can remember, because I can't remember when we did them last year. I know they'll be middle of the night games for us here in New Zealand, but we are kind of used to that by now being weird time zones. I think we've got a semi-final of our cricket as well that I'm going to be playing. So that's going to be interesting. I'm going to be half sleep deprived, but we're up against the top dogs. It's going to be tricky. And also Brendan Julian, a former Australian cricketer from the 1990s with Brian Lara and Michael Hussey. Julian took Shane Warne's spot on the commentary, says Robert. And also we got there another sellout for the Sevens, says CP. Was Brendan Julian not already in the test setup, Robert? Because I know that he was in the BBL, but was he not in the test series kind of commentary booth as well? My mate in Christchurch said it's raining hard and his place says it's over for the cricket, says Tony. Yeah, they don't have a lot of time left. And another sellout for the Sevens. Awesome to see they're able to get some big numbers there. Marnus now still on strike, 110. Joseph short ball. Marnus likes it. He's taking it on, but he's got it all the way for 6. That is not going to be fielded because that ball has gone about 80 meters. Marnus gets himself the 6, like I mentioned. He's going to definitely look to continue towards that 150. And also, I remember it started at 9 a.m. to 7:30. Oh, okay. So 9 a.m. that time would be 10. No, it would be 8 p.m. New Zealand time. That works for me. I might be back from cricket by then, hopefully. And as Warner semi-washed, he's in a position that he's a bit more 50-50 than he was, I think, is the best way of describing it. He can still definitely bat with the best of them, but when he doesn't play well, you can really see that he's not finding the middle of the bat compared to when he's like timing it beautifully and just playing all his shots. That's another short ball. Marnus hits it to the leg side, going to get himself another single. And he's only taken too much time in bowling the overs. Exactly right. And it's cost them that game. And that Sevens World Cup prices were shocking, says CP. End of the over. 73 overs down. Some drinks on the ground. And that is going to be 240 for 2. Decently high scoring for the Australians. And they have sped up. I didn't expect them to speed up to this extent. I thought they might try and get it to 3 or 4 and over at some point, but they're kind of going at 5 or 6 at the moment, making it very hard for the West Indies to bowl. This is weird stuff. There goes the sponsorship opportunity, but I've got to find the ingredients in it because it tastes really weird. Water, food acids, minerals. Okay, it's got some minerals, a lot of minerals, and some vitamins. It's lemon flavor, but it's kind of like, I mentioned how it's like when you melt a lemon popsicle, and that's what you get. West in the Unforgiven, Clint Eastwood, says Tony in there. And the Godfather 2 classic, says Tony Martinez. I think when I drank it for a start, it wasn't too bad because it was like the start of the bottle. But now it's not as good. So who you got for the Football World Cup? I think at the moment, it's a tricky one. So I want to say that Brazil are looking decent. although I haven't seen their most previous results, so I could be wrong in that statement. Someone along the lines of a Spain might be a good choice. England have been struggling a little bit, so I don't think they're as high up there as they would like to be. But yeah, there's a few decent sides making their way up. I'm trying to think of all those European sides as well. Brazil and France is another very big top dog at the moment. I'm going to go FIFA World Cup because I want to see who is confirmed in finals, which I don't think they're quite there yet, are they? For the finals, but they're getting close. And also Portugal must win their first World Cup for Ronaldo. Says coding there. And they've been going not too badly either. Okay, fixtures and scores. That sprayed all over my hand. It's unfortunate. Yeah, Australia played Denmark in the morning. Where are we? Okay, so one of the round of 16 games has been confirmed. That will be the Netherlands versus the United States. We won't actually be able to do that one on the channel because it does overlap with the Dubai Sevens final. England versus Senegal on the Monday morning, we should almost be able to do. I know Julian only came into Test cricket commentary today. Plays one, he was on BBL, says Robert there. Who else they got confirmed? No one else at this stage. Just those four teams: England, Senegal, USA, and Netherlands. Ronaldo, Bale, Messi. They not looking to win, or they not looking good to win, says Tony. It's almost, I mentioned it couple of days ago as well. It's kind of an end of an era for a lot of those older players. Like, you look at the amount of players who are retiring in the next few years after this World Cup. Like, we're not going to see those three names that you mentioned, Ronaldo, Bale, or Messi, at the next World Cup. There's a few other players who are really close to retirement. Like a few of the defenders, Sergio Ramos, probably one we're not going to get to see at the next World Cup. Is Gerard Piqué still going? I don't know whether or not he is still in the international team. Wales got eliminated, says Roll. He ain't winning, is he? For Gareth Bale. But yeah, there's a few sides that they'll be a little bit worried overall in terms of whether or not they can make it further in the comp. There's still some big games to come, though. See Cameroon, Brazil. It's going to be one that's on the 3rd. We also got Costa Rica, Germany. Japan, Spain. If Japan are able to do what they did in their game up against Germany, they might knock Spain down a peg or two. Croatia, Belgium's going to be a good game. Yabao only got to half-time, says Tony there. And also the other games tonight, Tunisia versus France. They are just showing the highlights of that first hour of the session. And now we're back in for the second, ladies and gentlemen. It will be, once again, Jason Holder with the ball in hand. Now, they should be able to play through till around, I believe it's 10:50 p.m. New Zealand time. So they've still got another hour and 20, and Denmark look old. And this is Tony. A few other sides, they've gone with more of their veteran lineup, I guess you could say, because Germany's another team that seem to be, they never are known for having the biggest players, the bestest players in the world, but they always work well as a team, which is why I think they go through. Same with Spain in that group. That would have been the group that New Zealand found themselves in, but they were knocked out by Costa Rica, a little bit too far down the leg side for Holder. Okay, Steve Smith actually having a little bit of something in the hip region, I think it was, for Steve Smith. Holder charges in, it's on the stumps. Once again, well played by Marnus. And the field is a little bit more spread than it was at the start of the session. I think the West Indies are slowly accepting that Australia is just going to keep on scoring here until they get them out. And it's a tricky one because their wicket doesn't look, I guess, easy is the best way of describing it for these two. These guys are in there to stay. They'll keep on batting for a very long time. Brendan Julian was born in Hamilton, New Zealand, but played for Australian cricket, says Robert there. Now Holder charges a nice shot straight into the man at short cover. No run would have been the call there. And Aussie, how close did New Zealand get to making the World Cup, says Al Mac. They were very close. They had a disallowed goal that in all the replays showed that it should have been a goal. So that would have made them one all at that point in the match, and they would have had a little bit more of a chance. But yeah, Costa Rica in the end were able to get themselves through. They just missed out by one match, though. We lost to Costa Rica. Says Tony, and New Zealand football team was undefeated team and played 3 draws in 2010 World Cup, but yet knocked out from the group stage. Says Goading, nice cut shot away from Labuschagne, this time jumping up in the air, playing it out through cover. Looks like Chanda Paul's chasing it hard. He's managed to cut it off. And that will be the 3 runs once again for Australia. Partnership moves up to 92 off 130 deliveries now for the Australians. Just jumps up, rocks onto the back foot. Marnus seeing it like a beach ball at the moment. No worries at all for him, straight out of the middle of the bat. But he didn't manage to get it to the boundary, which he'll be slightly disappointed about. Tapping a bat down once again here for Steve Smith. Also, we lost to France, but we beat Tunisia. We played Denmark at 1 a.m. Brisbane time in Australia. Says Robert, and also no Italy or Greece. I'm not that into the World Cup this year. Says Tony Martinez. Yeah, it was pretty big that Italy missed out, wasn't it? Just because they have got a ton of talent in their lineup, but missing from there. Like you mentioned, Greece, another team that's missing. Romania, not in the World Cup. They are just showing some of the highlights of Marnus's little talking points of last season. That's going to be nicely played to the league side by Steve Smith. Chanderpaul looks like the future of West Indies cricket in Tests, says Coding there. That is the end of the 74th over, though. 2 for 243. That's a lot of runs. There is a lot of runs out there on the park at the moment. Optus, it's a big ground. And, of course, with the fact that it is a nice outfield, it's hot, so there's always going to be a little bit of extra roll, and the pitch is quickening up. Something the Australian bowlers will be very happy about. They will be more than likely bowling at some stage throughout day 2, I would think, whether or not it's the last session or might be a little bit sooner. But first of all, some wickets need to start falling here. Oh, Semi Rajaja set to make a top 14 return. That's fun. Bristol Bears won't be too happy about that, I wouldn't think. Partnership only 8 runs away from the 100, and they've brought it up in relatively quick succession as well. 132 balls faced for these two, while the partnership has been building. 4 a.m. New Zealand time for Oz versus Tunisia. Good Aussies making Oceania proud, says Tony. So this is a must-win for Australia as well, isn't it? If they win this, do they go through, or is it down to differential? Tony, do let me know. Now, looks like it's about to be Joseph charging into the crease still. He's getting plenty of pace. Not quite as much as he would like. It's a short ball. Marnus goes after it. Goes straight to the man at leg slip, Chanderpaul. Or in fact, it's Roston Chase finds himself there. He's coming around the wicket, Joseph, here. They're trying to buy the wicket. And has Bolt retired? Are we talking Trent Bolt? Because if we are, I want to say his New Zealand contract ran out, but he might have renewed it. But he is actually going to be playing in the BBL this year, which does start in only about 14 days. But yeah, Trent Bolt, I believe he's still going at international level. Am I not wrong? Unless I'm thinking of the wrong Bolt. Are you talking maybe Usain Bolt? Or watch out, says Marnus to the man who was in close. He was a little bit concerned for the safety of the West Indian infielder. He does manage to get himself another single, moves to 121. And Martin Gupta also retired. So he's actually playing in the BBL also. He's going to be playing for the Melbourne Renegades, which does make it very exciting. And they're going to be a side to watch out this year, I think, the Melbourne Renegades. They're not too bad, about midway table, I would say, Trent Bolt. So I'm not sure about his international career, but I know that he's playing in the BBL anyway. Labuschagne can get 200, not today. I think day 2 he can get it. There's Jan Rand, yeah. Currently ticking over very comfortably, and I think Steve Smith will be eyeing up his century. Although first, of course, he needs another 6 runs, get himself to the half century. Another short ball, leaves it alone just over the shoulder there for him. So in the 23 times that these two have batted at the crease, they average 61.63 per time, 1,356 runs, and also 700s between them. So that's pretty impressive for 2 individuals. Steve Smith, normally he used to be the anchor of the two, but I feel like Labuschagne's now kind of become that anchor in the last 12 months or so, and Smith's still searching for that big total. Zari Joseph charging into the crease again. Another short ball. Smith gets underneath it. Well played. Zari Joseph, I mentioned it earlier on. The man shows no emotion. Nothing at all. You don't know whether he's angry, whether he's thinking, whether he's confused. All of those could describe the face I'm looking at right now for Joseph. We want to see him happy, though. And the way he's happy is if he gets one of these wickets. They've made a cup snake at Optus Stadium. It's a bit of a wonky one, too. It's going to fall over in a very short moment, including Guppy and Bolt off contract, possibly. They came back for the ODI World Cup. Unlikely, says Tony in there. And Southey must be getting close to that stage as well. It's another wide from Joseph. I believe that was because he has bowled too many short balls. Zari Joseph now having a bit of a stare down with the referee. Oh, sorry, the umpire, I should say. Not too happy with that wide call. Was it high? It looks relatively high. Over the head of Smith. But Labuschagne and Smith, the combination of 94 runs of 137 balls. Exactly what Australia needed after losing that wicket of Kovaja. Smith back over the wicket for Joseph. It's a better ball. It's gone down the leg side. It's hit the pad. He was playing a shot, so that's going to count as 4-leg buys against the West Indians. That will take the total up to 249. Oh, they've said he got some bet on it. We might have to see a replay of that one. Did he get an edge? Doubt it. Hit the leg. I don't think he had much bet on it at all. So he'll take those runs. He now moves up to 48. He will be closer to his half century. And also, do New Zealand have replacements of Bolt and Southey retired? Not really at the moment. I'd say we're in a bit of a middle stage. You could say we don't really have those next guys coming through as of yet. You've got those young fellows likes of, well, Matt Henry is not exactly young, but he's still probably the next option that they'd go with. So you've got Matt Henry. You've got Kyle Jamieson. I wouldn't say that he's quite at the same stage as Bolt or Southey, though, because it's pretty much like saying once your best opening combination of your bowlers is gone, can you replace them? And I don't think they're going to replace them too easily. They'll be looking for those next talented guys come up through the rankings. They've got a few young guns making their way through, but it will take time. We're currently 249 for 2. This is the dream start to the match, and Mac. We got it sort of Tickner. Tickner's another good option. Ferguson, Henry, some young quicks floating around first class, says Tony. And I think the big thing's going to be finding someone who swings the ball like both of them. Because Southey was always, he wasn't the quickest bowler, but he was able to get the ball to talk. I think that's more important sometimes than pure pace. Because Ferguson, you consider pure pace. Ben Sears is a good option. He is indeed. And then Tickner's probably, out of all the ones you've listed there, I think might be a decent one for the future. Henry as well, of course, is still going to be in there. Ferguson concerns me with injury. Same with Milne. Seems to be when those guys try and bowl more than 2 overs, they break down and have to have 6 months off. Right. Roston Chase back into the bowling attack. Second new ball in 5 overs time. That one's down the leg side. No run. Called by Marnus. Fielded nicely by Joseph, who was kind of at a bit of a wider fine leg. So on 121 runs currently, Marnus. I mentioned that he'll want to get to his 150 for the end of the day. They've still got 15 overs left for him to be able to do so. It's pitched up, well played. Straight in front, Ross, was the comment from the wicketkeeper. I think Marnus. Okay, I'm not too sure what was said between the two players, but they seem to still be smiling, which is a good sign. And also we've got there Tickner and Henry, low Ks on the clock. Says Tony, he advanced. That's a great shot from Marnus, though. Through the gap, out through cover again. It's his favourite spot. It was almost a little bit more of a straighter cover, an extra cover region for Marnus. And the keeper has just said that was a very good shot. Yeah, he said, oh my goodness, that was a very good shot. The gloves are ready, he has said as well. Now, Marnus, does he continue to attack the spin? I feel bad for Chase because he's starting to go for a few runs throughout this matchup. I should mention Sri Lanka versus Afghanistan actually going to be starting up in 15 minutes' time as well for their ODI. They've been affected heavily by rain lately as well. Nice ball there. Roston Chase changing his angle here. Going around the wicket rather than over. And I think it is time of come ODI cricket will be completely replaced by T20. Seth going in, you're doing the next game of the series, the 8th of December. I'm hoping to do a little bit of each of the games that are taking place. Whipped to the leg side by Marnus, well fielded by short mid-wicket. It might have been Azari Joseph as well. Yes, it was. Not minded at all. It's a comment from the keeper. The thing is, normally when the keeper is he's not even really sledging. He's just talking to his bowler. He's convincing him that he's got a wicket just around the corner. Marnus is joining in as well. I think he's trying to tell him that that is not happening, but you never know. It's going to be fielded nicely. Once again by, I think that was actually Seals, sorry. It's the end of the over. 48 runs for Steve Smith. He's currently sitting on 126 for Marnus as he tries to close in on his 1.5 centuries. I guess you could call it the 150, and I just can't wait for the 90 overs to finish, says Anthony Harding. Yeah, it's a shame that West Indies haven't been able to find that breakthrough that they've been after, because a wicket or two in this last session could have changed the match momentum completely. But they just haven't been able to get these guys, and because of it, they've been able to add to their runs quite nicely, going at about 4 and over for this final session. And hello, Kiwi lads, see you rocking the cricket. Aussie's always impressed with their batting. West Indies have some good bowlers. Difficult to pick the winner. Early days yet, says Aroof. And as like Michael Hussey saying, there's no swearing in the chat that's coming from the keeper. There's no real sledging either. It's just a little bit of gamesmanship, which is quite nice. Bit of a change, I guess you could say, from what we have seen in some of the past matches. I hope not. Can't stand T20. It's like a quirky, or it's like a quickie when I want full service, says Tony. Of course, referring to when his car's getting checked, Tony, for that one. That's going to be beautifully glided by Labuschagne. Sometimes you just need that full service. You need the headlights checked and everything in between. Nicely done by West Indies to be able to stop that one from racing to the boundary. What sort of speeds are the West Indies bowling at, says Al-Mag. So Azari Joseph, he's looking at about 140, which probably still a little bit slower than you'd like to be. He can get 150. In fact, he was bowling 150 when he was a teenager. But seems to be around that 140-ish. If he can get it up to 145, that's starting to get towards the danger zone in New Zealand or Hamish Rugby League versus or league cricket versus international cricket. What do you like? I really like the BBL off the edge. Doesn't carry because of the soft hands that Marnus plays it with. It looks like it will be 1-0 win to us, says Beds Ablaze. But yeah, I would say the BBL is always great to watch, but then when you're talking international cricket, it opens the door for so much because you've got the T20 World Cup, you've got the ODIs, you've got Test match cricket. So if I had to pick between the BBL and Test match cricket, I'd go Test match cricket. Imagine facing these fast balls, 130 kilometres. I want to be able to get that bat on ball, never mind hitting sixes. See, there's a roof there. See, because in the bowling net, I'm going to have a quick look and see how quick I was facing. It wasn't very quick at all, though. It was, one moment, we'll go, what was I facing? So it was only like 104 kilometres an hour, somewhere around there for myself on the bowling machine. So, or maybe 112. So it's not exactly the speed that you see from these international players. You've got to almost add another 1.5 of what I was facing for them. And also BBL off the edge. Says Beds Ablaze. Nice ball there. That was a better ball from Joseph. 134. So his pace is down a little bit at the moment here. Labuschagne moves up to 129. Smith sitting on 48 off 70 deliveries. I will mention anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We are going to be back with plenty more cricket. You mean to say BBL better than IPL? Says Coding, I prefer it mainly because I know a lot more of the players. That's a pretty good answer, isn't it, Coding? I feel like that one just came to me really. But because they're from Australia, most of the players, got a few English players in there, a few Pakistan players, New Zealanders. I know a majority of them, so it makes it so much easier to do the commentary for one and also just get behind everyone while they are playing. And they're on a decent hour of the night for us here. And IPL sucks. Are too many fixed games, says Tony there. Now Smith on 48. 3.2 overs till the new ball. Joseph put that one almost through the gap. But it was well blocked by Smith. He's watching it well. And Richard Illingworth's at the wicket as umpire. Rod Tucker's in the field, says Robert. T. Smith, I think he was just getting a comment from Labuschagne there, who was asking whether or not that kind of popped off the surface, and he went, nah. And the memories of favourite Aussies. Our bowler, so many greats, the Shane Warne, awesome spin bowler, Glenn McCarr, fast, says Ruth. And there as well. Yeah, there's been some brilliant Australian bowlers over the years. We're actually witnessing a few of them in this game later on in the day, or maybe later on tomorrow, I should say, with Pat Cummins, Hazelwood, Stark, Nathan Lyon. Great off spinners for Australia. Cricket into the 77th over now, 257 for 2. Right, they need a wicket. We've got to be blunt with it. West Indies need a wicket within the next few overs. Over if you've got Brett Lee and Jason Gillespie, says Robert, well, you got so many. You could list literally 20 Australian bowlers who have all been brilliant over the years. Partnership, though, of 106 for these two. And the 8th time they've had a 100-run partnership. Was it 100 or was it 106? 106 of 149 these two have managed to build up. I've been hitting all around the ground as well. We've seen a few edges, which you'd like to think would make the West Indies feel a bit more confident. Lily Thompson, Pascoe, Alderman, Aussie's best paced attack. Says Tony there. Different angle from Roston Chase there. It's going to be work to the leg side. It looks like they might just take the single here. And they do, which means that Labuschagne moves to 130. Smith's still sitting on 48. Now, he did get that one that went down the leg side. Hit his pad that they called runs, which does mean now he is only too short of being able to get himself yet again another half century for the Aussies. Oh, yes, is the comment from the keeper. Feel like that's like that kind of comment that you make when you have a real good stretch. Well, bold hit to the leg side. Steve Smith moves up to the same number as on his back, 49. One away now from yet again another half century. But anyone who is new to the channel, I should mention, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It is hugely appreciated you guys all being here. This is our first cricket live stream in over 3 months. But we've got plenty more coming. We've got the BBL. We've got international test matches. Once rain stops in New Zealand, once rain starts in New Zealand, it never stops. So frustrating, yeah. Our weather's normally, if it's going to rain, it's going to rain good. And it's going to really get wet. As rain normally does, I guess you could say. It's quite wet rain, isn't it? Labuschagne. KFC Supercoach BBL. Nice. Talking to the BBL. 13th of December. When it's going to be starting. Nice shot from Labuschagne. Moving his feet around the crease quite a bit. Now another single taken. Smith on 49. I would say once we get 300 or 300, Cummins will retire. You think? I think they're going to go a lot higher than that. I think Australia are going to look for 450 plus here rather than going early. They'll want to get as many runs as they physically can because it looks like a good batting surface. And the last thing you want is for the West Indies to end up doing the same thing as we're seeing Australia do right now. So I would say 450 to 550, somewhere around that margin. So when we'll see the Australians declare, if they reach that, which I believe at the moment, they'll feel very confident they can do. Steve Smith hits it through. That's going to be his half century there. 50 of 75. More like 500, says Al Mac there. And had 250, says Tony. And there as well. But yeah, they want to make sure that they're not going short with the amount that they get. They need runs on the board just to put that extra pressure on the West Indies. And then that's the thing. They've got the follow-on option, whether or not they do allow the follow-on to take place if they bowl the West Indies out relatively comfortably, which I hope doesn't happen. King Smith Says Davendra there, and they must be thinking 600. At the moment, they're scoring extremely quickly. They've still got another 12 overs left. You would think that they would be going at about 4 runs and over per one of those. So with 12, you've got 48 more runs on the board. That gets you up to around that 300 mark. In fact, that will put you one short. No, it would actually, no, it would put you over. You'd be 309. They kept going at that rate, and then that's if they only go at 4, which they seem like they'll now speed up. That Steve Smith has been able to bring up that half century. Definitely if Chase is at one of the ends, they may look to really attack him. Does enjoy playing a bit of spin Smith. But they have got now Joseph still bowling, and Smith's century on the way, and true Tony. And there, as I says, Robert. Chanderpaul fields it. Smith all around the wagon wheel today. He's been hitting it to the leg side as always, but his 4s and his 3s mainly have come from the cover drives. For himself, has scored 17 runs down that kind of backwards square leg region. And also Smith's century on the way. Yeah, it seems like he's going to go big here alongside Labuschagne. It's already on 131 runs. And I have to say, he's scoring quite nicely, Marnus. Sometimes he can be a little bit too slow with the way that he's scoring. Don't get me wrong, it's still effective. He scores those runs. Oh, that's a nothing shot from Marnus. Goes high on the bat, but it's fallen into a gap. And that does mean that he will be all right. That's probably the most uncomfortable we've seen Marnus throughout this inning in a very long time. He's been able to get the one run, moving up to 132 now. He said it well, or just well enough, I guess you could say, for Marnus there. Well enough to not go out, and not well enough to really score a huge amount of runs off the shot. Okay, they are saying that the Shadows are just starting to make their way onto the cut strip of the ground. They theoretically can still play for another shot down the ground from Smith. Goes straight to the man at mid-off. But I believe they can go through for another 53 minutes before they have to stop playing. And they should get through those 12 overs. Will rain save India? I think it will. I think once it starts raining, like Coding said a little bit earlier on, once it starts raining here, it doesn't stop. And Christchurch is one of those places that it probably won't stop either. Unfortunately, and Australia will look good for the World Test Championship final. India versus Australia Test Series will be tough, says Coding. It would be a good one, though. Nice shot once again from Smith, just gliding it out the point region. Gets the single. Just going to be showing the wickets. There aren't many to show, though. David Warner was the first dismissal. Ended up trying to drive one that was wide, and Seals did end up picking up the wicket. This is where it seemed like the West Indies really had a good crack in this contest, but unfortunately for them, after that happened, it just was nothing for a while. And do they take the new ball? They will. I'm yawning a lot, aren't I? But they'll take the new ball as soon as they can, because you got to get that last little moment. Okay, that's all. Was that an opportunity for Blackwood there? Did he manage to field it on the full, or was it along the ground that he took it at 85th over? I think they'll take it at the 80th, if I had to guess. Just showing the Usman Kovaja dismissal there, just the outside edge. Mayer doesn't get a huge amount of pace on the ball, but Mayers, he's effective when he gets it in the right spot. Something that some of the other bowlers for the West Indies have certainly not been able to find throughout this matchup. And ADF Tony says it was there from Robert. Charging in. Nicely fielded by Chase. That will end off 79th over. And Young Wrong 80th, thanks, says Tony. And there as well. So, yeah, it will be interesting to see whether or not they can get that breakthrough with the slightly harder ball. The surface is dry. It might start to seam around a little bit. And summer hasn't really come to New Zealand, says Al Mac. Yeah, it's supposed to be summer tomorrow, isn't it? And we haven't really seen any signs that that's actually going to happen. In fact, where I am, I think it's supposed to rain about 7 of the next 10 days. Unless it's changed. It might have changed, though, because it does change. Right. We've got one clear day, one rainy day. One clear day, one rain, 2 clear days. Okay, so in the next 9 days, we're expected to get rain for 5 of them. It's decent. We'll take that. Welcome to summer. Second new ball available in 1 over. So Roston Chase, we're looking to just close this out. Steve Smith may look to attack him a little bit here if he gets it in the wrong spot. Smith, 52 of 79 deliveries. Could be looking at 60 if Roston gets it in the wrong place. And would love to tour the Caribbean with the Black Cats Dream Tour. That would be an awesome one. Hopefully we do get to see it happen at some stage. And West Coast, we get summer from 16th or the 12th to the 16th of February. Nice. So I'm sure you get plenty done throughout that one little margin. Go on a nice trip maybe. Although you can't go too far else it's raining in the region you go to. So then it never works out, does it? So you got to go to the trip, maybe to like the local grocery shop, just stand there for a bit and go, geez, this is nice. This is summer. And then you go home. And global warming doesn't exist in New Zealand, says Al Mac, and South Island in New Zealand is almost cool for the whole year, says Coding. It's well bowled. Roston Chase once again. A bit straighter there. 2 balls till the new ball could be taken. So 10 overs left of the day as well, I should mention. Nicely played from Smith. Okay, he's gone a lot more defensive than I thought he would. And also we have got there, did you hear the commentator ask Mark Waugh if he got stuck in the lift? I did. Apparently there was a bit of a schedule mix-up between them. Now Chase. Leg side-ish. Smith hits it to the man who was there. And that kind of forward square leg. That's going to be the end of the over. The second new ball available. Do they take it? Yes, they got to. They have to. Rod Tucker. I think he's recommending that they take it. The umpire and 12th of Feb. I go to the beach and strip down to my gold G-string and leg warmers, says Tony. That would be quite a sight to see, wouldn't it, Tony? Does everyone else leave or do they stay at the beach? Oh, okay. I think they're keen to take the Kookaburra, we would think. Maybe they're going to give 1 ball and then they will end up taking it, I would think. No. Oh, okay. Tactically, this is a little bit different. Craig Braithwaite added into the bowling attack by himself. The skipper here has decided he wants a little bit of a crack with that old ball before we end up giving it away. He's had 80 matches, 25 wickets. His best is 6 for 29. If he can get that here, it'd help his team out. That's a decent ball. It's gone over the top, though. He edged it over the top of slip. Almost ended up with a wicket, the very first ball. And Duke ball, it's the Kookaburra that they are using. But Braithwaite, the slinging ball off the edge, hits the pad of the keeper, but then just ends up going over the top of slip. Wow. That's what you want to see early on. I like this move. Yeah, a little bit aggressive, I guess you could say, from Braithwaite. Deciding, you know what, if you guys aren't getting the job done, me as a part-time bowler, I'm going to come in and I'm going to show you how to get this wicket. I'm going to show you how to get Steve Smith out. Braithwaite, though, bowling almost a 23-yard ball there. He decided to stand right back from his line. And also Duke in England, Kookaburra and Oz, says Tony Martinez. Steve Smith, though, still on strike. It's nicely bowled. It's a good spot. Although the question is who bowls from the other end if Braithwaite wants to continue, because I think they should continue him. The way that he's bowled here has said nothing other than give him a little bit more of a crack. That was a little bit more leg side-ish. That's going to be a single taken. Now, one last ball of the over to bowl to Marnus Labuschagne. Okay, Labuschagne has just said, man, that was so quick. So I think it was the case of Marnus wasn't expecting the speed of Braithwaite. They do take the single there. Marnus will retain the strike. And that will be the end of the over. Now sitting 267 for 2. All right. Now do they take the new ball? And also we have got there, Hamish, look, the rain has stopped in Christchurch, but the game has been called off. So funny, says Coding there. Similar to what happened for us on Saturday. We were down at the ground. We did the toss. We were batting first, so I was just about to get padded up. But it was raining, so they were like, actually, we're going to cancel the game. The other team left, And then the rain stopped. And it actually wasn't a bad afternoon. A couple little showers, but we might have got some cricket in. And Windies in the 80s would have filled that stadium today, says Tony. Yeah, it's a shame that they didn't have more support for this matchup. At the end of the day, it's the first test match we're seeing from Australia on Australian soil for quite some time. But I guess it's also the case of because it's a weekday, might be why we haven't seen as many people in attendance for the contest. I'd like to think that if this test match makes it to Friday night, Saturday and Sunday, they will be able to fill out a few more seats. Roston Chase be bowling as well here. So it seems like they are going to be sticking with spin for a little bit longer. Braithwaite, I think, likes his chances. But like they've said, the shadows are now on the pitch, which could cause a little bit of problem. I mean, 10,000 there, says Robert. So yeah, nowhere near the stadium capacity. Oh, see bowl once again, a little bit of a harder length to hit there. Mayers fields it. This will leave us after this over. Only 8 overs left of the day. They are supposed to have it done by about 10:20, but they will need quite a bit of extra time. Nicely played by Labuschagne. Once again, out of the middle of the bat. He is timing it beautifully at the moment here. And also, we get there. Plus, I don't think some wet or some went because of the case with Justin Langer versus Cricket Australia. Although, surely that wouldn't have stopped. How many does Optus hold? About 40, 50,000. Surely that didn't stop 30,000 people from going and watching the game. Maybe they lost maybe 1,000 there. But Justin Langer was actually at the game. He was getting interviewed earlier on, not by these ones, I don't think. But it was actually, he was just chilling in the background. So, yeah, I would have thought for his case, maybe he wouldn't have gone to the game. But he's like, nah, I like me cricket. Marshall, Garner, Holding, Walsh, Richards, Richardson, Greenwich, Haynes, they filled stadiums, says Tony, and also 60,000, says Robert, for Optus Stadium's attendance, or capacity, I should say. To the leg side once again, unable to do so. Getting it through the gap, so that will be 82 overs down, 268 for 2. And once again, the Australians are still at the crease. Smith and Labuschagne. Those men are very happy. I would say they're about 10 beverages deep each at the moment. Very smiley. Okay, now they're taking the new ball. Interesting. I would have thought that Braithwaite, because he decided to bowl one, he might have given himself another, but he just wanted to see what the old ball was doing. See if his bowlers were letting them down. We're going to see it yet. Jaden Seals sounds like he is going to be... Is he going or is he not? They've put the ball in the pocket. Now they take the new ball. And Kiwi lads, knock. Who is there, Ollie? Oh, no. It's actually going to be Roach who gets the shiny new ball in his hand. This next 8 overs is crucial for the test match. I would say if for the West Indies get themselves 1 wicket here, keeps their hopes and dreams alive of winning. Even though it's an extreme rarity, they need a wicket right now. If they can do so, who knows what can happen in this match. And Keelan says, Ollie there, Keelan who? And also we get the beauty of test cricket, a good 7 hours in the sun's sinking beer, says Tony there. And you got to make sure you're hydrating or else you do get a bit dehydrated. Definitely at a ground like Optus where you're sitting 24, 23 degrees at the moment. Charging in Roach with the new ball. Outside of a stump. Is it an edge? There was a noise. Umpires said no. Now, I know Marnus hit the ground here. He said he might have hit the ground, was a comment that I just heard. Do they go upstairs? 1 second, they decide against it. The West Indies. Did he hit this ball or did he just hit the ground? Yeah, just hitting the turf. Good call not to go upstairs. Yeah, didn't manage to get that one, Marnus. But a wider ball, and he decided to chase it. That's a better one. Right on the money from Roach. Marnus was well and truly ready for it. Like they're saying, Roach, he's been good in this matchup. He hasn't been able to pick up a wicket yet. but has definitely deserved one. He's been bowling extremely well. It's been close. Now, once again, charges in. Outside of off stump. This time he decides to leave it. It is outside off stump, although now does a little bit of a cover drive. Just telling Roach that if he puts it out there again, he might be tempted to go for it. But he's only 15 away from the 150. And Holder at the other end, maybe. They may end up going Holder, or more than likely they may end up going with Seals as the other option. I think he was lurking for the new ball. Keelan loves My Little Ponies. Is that the knock-knock joke, Ollie? Because that one wasn't as good as I was hoping it would be. Oh, Yorker from Roach, bit full, but Marnus done well to chop it out. And also we have got there. Do you see any chance of rain in this test match? There's not a huge amount. And at the end of the day, with the way that it's progressing, I would say we will see more than likely a result, even if there is rain. Just because both sides are going at a decent rate. The over rate's good. They should manage to get through all of the overs. And with the fact that we've got so many runs on the board already for Australia, does mean the result should be just around the corner. Nice shot there from Marnus. Just a back foot punch out through the cover region. Goes out to Chase in the deep. Gets himself the single. Now Smith has one ball to face of the new ball before we get to the end of the 83rd over. So they did decide to take it 2 overs later than a lot of people thought that they would, mainly because they decided that they wanted to try out a bit more spin, and Reed says hi. And they're welcome, and Reed. Now Marnus, the non-striker's end. His job is done just for now in terms of facing the new ball. Now Smith has to try and deal with it. It's a pitched up delivery, smacks it down the ground straight to the fielder, and that will be the end of the over. 269 for 2. 7 overs remaining in the day. Like I mentioned, they should get through those. They've got 8 minutes left of regular time. Then they've got 30 minutes to be able to go for. And also we have got there, think of all the beautiful cricket we missed due to COVID. Carry on, never again. Says Tony in there. Yeah, there were a lot of matches that we're missing. That's the thing. When I think back, like 2019, I think it was, just before everything started firing up, I actually went to the Boxing Day test match in Melbourne at the MCG, and there were about 80,000 plus people in attendance for that matchup. New Zealand lost that one, unfortunately, but it was just the fact that they could do that was massive at the time. Or it seemed massive a couple months later when you weren't even able to have 10 people in a space. Okay, they have gone with Seals as the man at this end. He's bowled 11 overs, gone for 53 runs, so a bit expensive, but he's been keeping that outside edge of the bat possibly as an option. And who do you think is older? Keelan, Reed, Harrison, Lee, and Jonathan, and me. I'll go Lee. Lee's the oldest. We'll go with that. 7 overs remaining in the day. If we're doing the maths, that is 42 balls remaining. Labuschagne needs 14 to be able to get his 150. He'll be looking to do that before the end of the day. Charging in now, those Seals. Ball outside of off stump, left alone. Labuschagne decided he wasn't going to be chasing that one. Still going with the quite, you'd say, and Lee to his Robert as well. He's gone with Lee as well. But you'd still say that they've got quite a compact slip cordon. 4 men all in the slips. They haven't really got a gully, which is a tricky one because I feel like that will be where this next edge goes if he gets one, Marnus, because of the soft hands that he plays it with. It was a straight ball, nicely bowled by Seals. Now 6.4 overs left. So I think these two bowlers will close out the day for the West Indies. But anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We're going to be back for some of the cricket tomorrow. And also alongside that, we have got Pakistan versus England starting up tomorrow. That is going to be pretty awesome to see how that one goes. And we will be hopefully covering 1 or 2, if not 3, of the sessions of that day. And Marcus will be thinking about being, or Marnus, sorry, will be thinking about being not out overnight, number 1 priority. Exactly right. Him and Smith, that's a wide loosener. 130 Ks. Okay, he said it was swinging away, so that is why it's not a wide. Rod Tucker. There's a bit of swing there. That's what he said. And also Holden needs 2 or 3 overs before stumps. I think he'd be a good choice, but... See, it's on the verge of being wide, but I can see what they're talking about in terms of how much it swung. And Harrison is 27, Lee is 25, Jonathan is 24, Reed is 23, Keelan is 20, and I'm 20. Well, Keelan is 20, and I'm 20, says Ollie there. Okay, so we went a mile off. Lee is the second oldest, so we'll take second place, me and Robert. Another white ball left alone. Oh. Okay, so they've actually just said that rather than using the GPS on players' backs now, they actually have a new system with cameras that recognize player features of their faces and can tell you exactly where players are. Manus goes wide with the cut. Up and under. It's dropped. And that is going to be disappointing. Oh, no, it's the youngster Chanda Paul out in the deep. Hasn't been able to take it. There's a lot of pressure on that young man for his debut, but it would have been a massive wicket for them to have. One man out in the deep. It was short outside of off stump. Manus said, I'll be having a piece of that one. Chanda Paul. Oh, tell you what, it was just short. So he may not have quite got to that one the way that he would have liked to, but I think it still counts as a drop catch, unfortunately. For the youngster, it was just going to be a very tricky one to be able to take. Charging him once again, Seals. Left outside of the off stump from Smith. That will be the end of another over there. And Chanda Paul, this is the son of that 80s and 90s guy. It is. He was actually presented the cap by Brian Lara, who said that he was around when his dad was playing. His dad's actually in Orlando, Florida. Florida. That's how you say it. Oh, Toyota Good for Cricket raffles back. 3 new cars to be won for $5 in the raffle. I don't think I would be able to enter that competition seeing as I'm from New Zealand, but we'll see whether or not it comes up. No, I didn't recognise it. And I was like, hey, says Reed, welcome in, mate. We heard from you before. We at least heard from Ollie, who said Reed says hi. Right. Once again, it's going to be Roach. And yes, Tony says Robert. Charging in Manus Labuschagne. 6 overs left. Nicely played off the outside edge. It went through that gully region. What I mentioned before was if he got an edge, it was going to go through gully. And that's exactly where that one's gone. He's got the 4 runs. And now Manus, he's going to be moving up to 141 runs now. And Christmas good, Jonathan Mann, yes. And also Smart Rich people move to Florida. The rest of the USA is going to the pack, says Tony there. But yeah, soft hands from Manus, finding the gap that he was after. Now, 35 balls remaining in the day. It's a straight one, but he's got the inside edge. Manus there, he's done well. Just enough on that one. Roachie's smiling. He knows that was a great opportunity. The West Indies have been close. And also we get there Christmas good, at least 60, yes, says Ollie. And there also we get the Hamish, can you predict semi-final lineup of the 50-over World Cup in India? Says Coding. Is that for New Zealand coding or for in terms of who's going to make it to the semi-finals? So I think, that's a nice shot. New Zealand should have a decent crack, seeing as we go all right at ODIs. I think Pakistan also going to be in there. And then it's more of the question of will it be India, or sorry, not India. Will it be Australia or England as the 4th side? I feel like those are my teams. And also India, of course. And Chanda Paul Sr., very gritty batsman in the middle order, held the innings together often, says Tony. I'm just going to quickly check the weather again tomorrow. Okay, now it's funny enough. I mentioned about it just before how of those 9 days, 5 of them were supposed to have rain. Now Thursday's actually become a rainy day too. So of those 9 days that we've got coming up, actually now 6 of them are supposed to rain. And Australia will be there, I think, says Robert. Rugby Waikato 2023. Yes, the Bunnings NBC going to be returning. So actually only supposed to be in the evening that there's 30% and then it's supposed to rain at about 9 p.m. So Hopefully we get a cricket training in. Oh, Smith goes. And he is going to manage to keep it down. Goes to the boundary. And that will make him go up to 57 now for Steve Smith. Still ticking over nicely. Him and Marnus. The partnership is getting huge for the Aussies here. Horizontal bat stroke, as they called it. Nicely out to the leg side. No trouble at all. But anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We're going to be back with plenty more of the cricket in the near future. Oh, that bit him on the outside. Had a little bit of the shape there from the bowling of Roach. 9 off the over, though. And Jofra Archer will be back in test for England after 16 months, says Coding there. He's not playing in the first match up against Pakistan, though, is he? I think they've gone with a different lineup that doesn't involve Archer. Okay, Steve Smith, he's just said watch the ball to himself. He wasn't happy with the way that he played that one. Talking about the deviation, it moved probably a good 3 to 4 inches. That's why Steve Smith found it tricky to be able to play, but it will be Seals once again now. 8 runs away from the 150 for Marnus Labuschagne. So I would say with 5 overs left, 21 runs on the board is doable. Australia should close out the day with 300 on the board. And you'd have to call that definite big win for the Australians on day one. Those 2 early wickets or the 1 early wicket and then getting Kovaja a bit later on when it was Warner dismissed, it looked like the West Indies had that fight and the drive in them. But then Australia have just been able to shut their bowlers out of the attack. Seals charging in, wanting to change that. Left alone outside of the off stump. Like Ian Smith is saying, they haven't played poor cricket. It's just that Australia have been able to get the most of their opportunities. Joseph there signing some caps and whatnot. He hasn't been able to pick up a wicket yet, Joseph, which I think was a bit of a surprise because for me, he was one of those bowlers that certainly had a good opportunity to in this day one. Maybe day two will be better for him. Seals now, leg side. Didn't get that one, Marnus. I thought he might have caught up with it. Got a bit of an edge, but I think it was just me getting a bit too excited. Still 4.4 overs remaining in the day, so we have got another 28 minutes of play that they can go for. They should easily squeeze those in. If they don't, you would be very surprised. They should have it almost done by about 10:45, I would say, maybe even 10:40, 18 minutes. Get through 4.5 overs, doable for the West Indies. But Marnus still on strike. 254 balls this man has faced on day one of this test match. The first that we have seen for the Australians in a few months. Although actually they faced Sri Lanka, so that is a wrong comment. The first they have had in Australia, or were they might have had Sri Lanka in Australia, actually. I think I'm just digging myself a bit of a hole here. Yeah, showing scoreboard head. Then you've got Cameron Green, Alex Carey, Pat Cummins, Mitchell Starc, Nathan Lyon. That's probably when the batting side of things ends. And you've got Hazelwood, who still can bat pretty decently. And what cricket teams are touring New Zealand this season? I know that we are going to be playing Pakistan around Christmas time. It's one side that we've got coming up. Also alongside that, do we have Australia? No, we might not have Australia yet. But yeah, we've got Pakistan as one side that are going to be touring. I'll just have a quick look and see who else I can find. That was a long yawn. Because it would probably be more looking in 2023 January. So they've got Pakistan still. February, they've got England in New Zealand. They're going to be a day-night test on the 16th of February. And then also the 24th of February, they play the second one starting at 11 a.m. Pakistan, England, Sri Lanka, says Tony there. So, yeah, Sri Lanka we got in March. That'll be an interesting one to cover because it was actually a Sri Lankan game that we got a copyright strike on. So I don't know whether or not we can do that series. And Aussie, you don't need to look meters above, says Tony in there. Yeah, the delay though, it was simultaneous, we'll call it. Although I think you were quicker. This has been a good over so far. No runs coming from it. Nice and straight. No run. And that will be the maiden over. 2 for 279. 4 overs left. Was reaching down to get the charger. Like they've said, they may not have had a lot of success, but the over rate has still been pretty good from the West Indies. It looks like Optus Stadium is slowly cooling down now. Either that man is running. Yeah, he is. Where's he running to? I think he's realised that he was late for the game. Now trying to run in to get the last, maybe 15 minutes or so of the contest. At Optus Stadium, it's certainly turned up for this matchup. The weather's been beautiful over in Perth. We're looking to continue that throughout the rest of the test match. It's outside of off stump, left alone once again, but Roach is bowling about that 125, which I believe you're looking at, if I had to go like that, you're looking at about 78 miles per hour for anyone who does track themselves on miles. I was just checking to see the difference in the miles. I didn't actually realize that 90 miles per hour wasn't actually 150. And also, we have got that. Hamish, I need to ask you something, please. That makes me very concerned, Tony. I feel like this is something serious. Like, can I have your kidney or something? But what is it, Tony? Do let me know. And no, we've got South Africa, India, and England. And there it says Robert. And also, we get New Zealand. We're also going to Pakistan for the Test series. Not too sure if we head to Pakistan or whether they just come to us. I think at some stage, though, we will be getting to Pakistan because they were supposed to go last year, I believe, at one point. And also, we have got the laughing from Tony. I don't know whether that should make me more concerned or less concerned. So I was once again left alone by Marnus. He's in no hurry to get that 150. Sitting now with 21 balls left. Not a lot of time for Australia to survive. A wicket here would be massive for the West Indies. Australia, they'll know that they're close enough to the end of the day. All you got to do is just make sure you stay out there. The edge, though, could be something that could be handy. Get that right ball going from maybe off stump a little bit further out. See if you can get Marnus playing. It's too far outside off. It's going to be swatted away by Marnus out to the man at point. They do get themselves a single. And also, we look at the Hamish. Can you get your mum? Can you get your mum to ring me at 3:50 a.m. so I can watch Aussie versus Tunisia football match? I mean, there's also, don't know whether you're aware. What type of phone have you got, Tony? Is it an Apple or is it a Samsung? Or is it something else? Do let me know. Roach, straight ball! That's got to be close. Come on. Okay, no joy. I'd go upstairs. They haven't had a review yet. You got to check this one, don't you? Yes, they do. Right. Even though they've gone upstairs for it, I think it's going to be not out, unfortunately. I think it might have been going a bit high, maybe down leg, as in Aussie versus Denmark. That would be true. Yeah, Aussie played Denmark tonight, and then Tunisia end up playing France, don't they? And I think those games actually overlap, which is interesting. They haven't had that too much for the Cricket World Cup. I buy a new phone to make it happen, says Tony in there. I mean, because the great thing about an Apple device is they've actually got a clock. And with said clock, you can actually set alarms for different times in the night. Fun fact. Oh, okay, it's going onto the pad. It's close to the bat. Very close to the bat, in fact. And also we got Pakistan in December next year. I think I think we got New Zealand. Okay, they want the hot spot here. Is there a noise? There's not. Okay. I can see the clear gap between bat and ball. This, I think, is going too high. It's missing. It's gone over the stumps and a little bit leg side-ish. The reviewer's lost for the West Indies. They were hoping that it was going to be the other way around. And hey, don't spoil it. Not about the game. I want to watch Aussie play football, says Tony in there. Oh, it could be an exciting matchup. It's going to be interesting because tomorrow, I've mentioned it for a little while, we're going to be starting doing weekly December vlogs heading into Christmas. It's going to be a weird one because I don't even know what my plans are for December. But any random trip that I make with George Daniel or Isaac. We're going to end up doing a vlog of it. Also, alongside that, I'll let you guys know a little bit of the behind the scenes of what I actually do outside of the live streams. You'll learn it's not a lot. I just pretty much chillax and sit around in a silent room, which is anything but the truth. I either edit, record, or just do something random. That's the end of the over, ladies and gentlemen. 87 overs down, 3 overs remaining in the day. We want to see a wicket. Will you take break from YouTube for Christmas, some holidays? Nah. That's about the best answer I can give coding is nah. Last year we didn't. We ended up doing live streams on Christmas Eve. We ended up doing live streams on Boxing Day. And I think we even uploaded a video on Christmas Day. So that's probably what we got this year as well. I haven't had a day off since maybe July? Somewhere around there. Close run out opportunity. They don't get it though. And 2 more runs. And he works on cricket streams. Says Robert there. And also I'm back. Says Amelia. Welcome back right at the end of the day. But you will get to see the final 13 balls. That's a lie. Final 17 balls of the day. But yeah, we haven't really got too many gaps or holidays planned. Like my holidays are normally if I have like 30 minutes while waiting for a video to export. That's the day that I get to like chill out, or the 30 minutes that I get to chill out. And you had Xmas Day off. Yeah, I think I had it off, but I still had something. Oh no, it might have been the year prior that I had something scheduled. It's a whole new world, Hamish. You're on the cusp of a future of sports broadcasting. Fancy, isn't it? It's going to be a nice shot from Labuschagne, though, out through that backward point region. He's liking it very much, and now he moves to 149, 1 away from 150. Chanderpaul tried to field that one, didn't quite swat it back the way that he needed to. And also we have got there, when you get to the top, I'll be there with you, mate, says Tony. So that's the thing. Our goal by the end of, I think it was by the end of next year, was to get to 1,000. And we're now over 20, which is really strange. But that is going to be the 150 for Manus. Moves up to 151. He has been doing extremely well in this contest. Doesn't look like slowing down anytime soon either, which is a little bit concerning for the West Indian bowling attack. But anyone who is new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We have got plenty more cricket coming up on the channel. Also, the rugby side of things coming back. And did you get to 10K this year? Says Far. That's a great question, Far. I'm not sure. I'll have to have a look. That's the thing. Anytime we hit a milestone, I'm just surprised because we're higher than I expected, if that makes sense. Yes, says Robert. So, channel-wise, we'll go subscribe. Okay, that's not what I want. We want detailed statistics, I guess. And I seem to remember it, says Far. What else have we got? Oh, I'm in the wrong section. Never mind. One moment. I'll be able to find it. We'll go like this so we can still see the cricket as well. And also we have got the I follow this lady in the USA. She does true crime. Been doing it for 2 years. She's very good. Got attacked by established true crimers. You going amazing, mate. See, I guess that's kind of like us. Not for the true crime side of things, but we had our channel copyright struck by a bigger YouTube channel because they didn't want us also doing the cricket that they were doing, which was a bit of an interesting one. But yeah, I guess it's one of those ones that you get used to people playing dirty. And I was delighted you are back on the cricket again, Hamish, with loads promised as well. Makes the long winter nights in the Northern Hemisphere something to look forward to, says Celia. So yeah, we've got plenty more coming on the channel. I'm excited because there is a lot of cricket that has taken place in the near future. One moment, we'll go like this. Right. November 2021, December. Okay, so at the start of 2022, we were on 8,838. That's pretty insane. It's very insane, in fact. And I was so 2 years, she's on 2K followers, says Tony there. And I was like, yeah, it was Bangladesh versus New Zealand, says Robert. And I was like, yeah, are you screw can be the Wild West. Elon going to fix that in great year, says Far. Yeah, and I'm not even sure how many videos we've done this year, but I would assume video and stream-wise, we've probably hit, I want to say at least 365, maybe even 500 streams/videos this year, maybe even closer to 700 or so. At the moment, Mayer's bowling one of the last two. Wow, that ball did a bit. And also 12K so far, says Far. And also we were up there, Celia Ann. There's a romantic smile face emoji, says Tony there. That one was a good ball for a first delivery from Mayers. It's the type of ball that bowled me at the nets earlier on today. The in-swinging Yorker. Got me quite a few times with that one. Now Mayers still bowling to Labuschagne. Bit of swing there. Glides it down that third man region though. He's loving that at the moment, Marnus. Using the pace of the ball. Soft hands just through the gap each and every time. But Smith now back on strike. He's sitting on 58 off 100 deliveries. They've only got 10 balls left. And also Donna must be delighted. And there's his Far. I think she is overall. I guess it makes it so that with me sitting in the corner of the lounge for hours and hours on end, I guess in their minds, they think that it's slightly more worth it than if I was sitting here, down on the side and kind of just talking to myself type thing. And I was like, all their hard work paying off. Yeah, I think at least 10,000 of the subscribers this year have subscribed because of my mum. That's a lie, but I know that Tony probably did. Hey, Tony. Like they've said, it's a glorious day in Perth. Only 9 balls remaining in the day. Day 2 will be starting at 3:20 p.m. tomorrow, New Zealand time. I believe that will actually overlap with the cricket training that I've got. So because of that, we won't be able to cover the first session, but we're hoping to cover either the second or the third, and also England versus Pakistan. That test match is incredible. You live stream for 4 hours on YouTube almost every day, so consistent, says Coding. And I guess for those weekdays that we don't live stream, we make up for it on the weekends when we end up doing like 10 to 15 hour days of talking. I have no idea how my voice still exists. Like, I feel like I'm not going to be able to talk when I get to like 35, just from how much talking I've done in the past 2 years. Nice in swinging ball once again. Smith gets in behind it. Still 7 balls remaining in the day. This is the time to get the most random wicket that we've ever seen, whether it's an in-swinging Yorker, a nice edge through to the slips. They've got quite a few men in the slip cordon. I think Jason Holder's going to have the final over of the day by the looks of it. And also, I hope Oz beat Denmark later. Nicely played. Smith in behind it. And that will be the end of the over, the second last over of the day, 291 for 2. So Australia may struggle to get to the 300 now, just with the run rate they've been going at recently. Now, no, it's actually not going to be Holder who gets the final over instead. Or is it? Yes, it is. He is going to get it. And also, you'll be able to type or write it on paper, and we will all be able to read it. That is true. Although I feel like the process would probably annoy a lot of people. Like, I just have to say that my microphone stopped working, but really it's my voice that stopped working. And that would be frantic writing, wouldn't it? Right. 1 over, 6 balls remaining. Holder with the ball. How has Labuschagne missed that? That is, wow. That was a good ball from Jason Holder. Just didn't get the edge, though. Oh, so close. And also, do you use some bullet points in some live streams to speak, or is it completely random? Most of them are completely random. Like, I'll do my research beforehand for the matches, previous results, players to watch and everything along those lines. But a lot of the time on the live stream, like I don't have bullet points of what I should talk about. So that part earlier on, we were talking about movies and the movie theater and all that, like that wasn't a planned topic. It just, you just adapt really. Someone mentions something weird. You either go with the weird or you decide to try and sway away from the weird. Those are your two options, but another nice ball from Holder. And Holder should have been on at the new ball. Yeah, would have been a good option because that ball is swinging and seaming for Jason Holder here. Outside off, chasing it a little bit there, Marnus. He decides to take the single out to the man at deep point, and that might be his day over now. For Marnus Labuschagne, only 3 balls remaining in the day. Steve Smith will have the strike. We're looking to close this one out. The comment from Marnus Labuschagne was, "Oh, Jason, that was a delicious ball." And I don't think Holder could quite believe the way that one moved. Another good ball. Smith in behind it. 2 balls remaining. And Australia to be only 2 wickets down after a full 90 overs of action. They'll be pretty happy with that, with the fact that they lost the early wicket of David Warner. Then from there, Kovaja ended up falling in that second session. But Australia, they made the right decision when they decided to bat first. We think anyway. We don't know what's coming just around the corner. Perhaps they could look at it and regret the choice. I don't think they will, though. I think they're pretty happy with where they are sitting currently. The Australians, 1 ball remaining in the day. Will be Holder to Steve Smith. So Marnus, he'll be able to almost hang up the boots at the non-striker's end, although Steve might try and take a quick single here. Get himself the strike for the start of the new day. This one needs to be on the stumps, though. You got to at least challenge him. See if you can try and get that sneaky little dismissal right at the end of the day. We have seen it in the past before. A day with a wicket on the final ball. Holder charges into the crease. One last chance. It's on the stumps. Little bit uppish, and Steve Smith works it down to fine leg for the single. That will be the end of the day. And Steve Smith will have the strike to close out the day. 2 for 92 is the best day one score at Optus Stadium. That is impressive from the Australians. Only the 2 wickets down. Steve Smith gives the handshake to Marnus Labuschagne, congratulates him for his 154 off 270. It's been quite the knock from the Australian number 3. Steve Smith, though, he's been doing pretty decent for himself as well. 59 runs off 107 deliveries. Aussies will bat. Second day full. Oh, I don't know if they'll do the full day. I think they'll go close, but they may give the last hour of the day to the West Indies or the last session, depending on how quickly they can score, just because you want to get a little bit of a crack at them. They were saying that the pitch is starting to quicken up after that first session. So second day, you're going to be looking at some real pace, which is where the likes of a Mitchell Starc, Pat Cummins, Hazelwood, they'll all find their line and they may be able to favour, may be able to trouble, I should say, that West Indian outside edge. Congratulations for the scintillating series win by New Zealand versus India and bilateral, hopefully I've pronounced that correctly, tournament in there from Insane Warrior. I'm going to have a look. Oh, now if I say the wrong Indian cricketer here, I'm going to get in trouble. That is Rohit Sharma, isn't it? I hope. Have I got that correct? I really hope I do have that one. And Windies are starring at an innings or steering at an innings defeat. At the moment, it's not going that well. Marnus, he's got himself some electrolytes in his bottle. It looks like he's going to have a bit of an interview as well. Is it the electrolytes or is it a chalky milk? It might be a chalky milk that Marnus finds himself having. And New Zealand conditions too much for the Indians. Well, it's more just the fact that it just kept raining, didn't it? In pretty much every game they played, I think it was slightly affected by rain. Marnus saying that any day that you have 300 on the board almost, only losing the 2 wickets is a very good day to have and very difficult to get Aussie batsmen out when they're playing like this. Good score first day, says the ref, exactly right. And now they'll look to build in the second day of this test match at Optus Stadium. It's supposed to be just as hot tomorrow as it was today, which means that the West Indies, they may start to feel a little bit worn down by the end of their bowling innings. But thank you all very much for tuning into this live stream. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. We're going to be back tomorrow with some of this test match, also some of Pakistan versus England for their test series. And I should mention, if we are covering one on the channel, we will still be keeping you updated with what is happening in the other matchup out of the two that are being played. But thank you all very much for tuning in. Hope you do enjoy the rest of your night / maybe morning, depending on where you are in the world. And India team looks lost without Virat and Rohit, says Shahid Khan in there. Yeah, it was a slow innings, wasn't it, in that ODI up against the Kiwis? I think they'll be a bit disappointed with that, but at least they were able to get that T20 series under their belt and the process. But thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe like I mentioned, and I will see you all for the next